Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back here to the Pinnacle Cup #2. My name is X-Warrior, of course, with the beautiful Wild Deity by my side for yet another time. A brand new day of Counter-Strike being brought to you with a lot of good games coming through in the Swiss stage as things are getting very, very close. We've already seen teams being eliminated, but we've got a few teams that still want to figure out if they can hang on in this game. We've got the teams of Young Ninjas versus MiBR first up. And Wild Deity, how do you feel with this game of action today?
I'm really glad to see this matchup, and the reason for that is that we haven't quite gotten to see MiBR versus Young Ninjas at all. This is an entirely new matchup. They've got absolutely no head-to-heads before, and the reason for that is MiBR, they've been able to compete in these European Cups because they're on LAN at the moment. They have been traveling, of course. They are in Europe, so it's fun to be able to see that they're making good use of that opportunity and even participating in Pinnacle Cup II. So Young Ninjas and MiBR, on paper, these are two very close teams.
Absolutely, but let's have a look at the Swiss stage currently to see how these teams fare with everybody they played against so far. As you can see, they're right in the middle, snug on the 8th and 9th spot currently on the Swiss stage as They are both 1-1 in the scoreline. Young Ninjas did lose to Fiend 1-2, but did manage to take a win over the Brazilian counterparts of MiBR Team 1 in a 2-0 fashion, while MiBR themselves had that 1-1 affair themselves. So, snug in the middle, a win would mean they'd have a chance later on to qualify, but a loss would put them in a really difficult situation on the verge of elimination. So, I'm sure both of these teams will be fighting to get onto the upper half of this bracket. And of course, Wild Deity, why don't you take us ahead and talk to us about the squads that we have at hand today. You may even start with MiBR if you wish to do so.
Yeah, MiBR, of course. Right now, they should ideally, on paper, they should be in their prime right now because, of course, they have been prepping for that LAN. But it hasn't really been showing in the results too much, to be honest, because their results, they are a streak of Fred. With the exception of being able to beat out Havu, they haven't had the best of results. They've got some stellar performers in the likes of Shello. They've got Bolts. So these accomplished players, they can put up the numbers. Unfortunately, they haven't been coming to light on the server. Young Ninjas, on the other hand, they've had a bit of an upstreak. They have brought it very close against teams like Fiend. They've been brought very close against teams like Offset. They've beaten out Team 1. So even though Young Ninjas, they're not looking too solid either, I feel like they're in a bit better form compared to Young Ninjas.
Yeah, and of course, the Young Ninja squad, we've talked about these guys, right? They've already impressed us. The fact that this young team is doing so well. Of course, it does come underway with the strategy that NIP is working on with their academy. They've also got that Path of a Ninja program going on, which is the reason why Rolf is currently in the lineup. But it's not like this is news to us anymore. We've already seen them in the Pinnacle Cup. We've already seen them in the play-ins doing a stellar job, beating out VP Prodigy, taking out Sangal Esports, not giving him a chance to compete in this tournament. And the fact that they find themselves already into that 1-1 scoreline, winning maps off great teams like Fiend, taking out Team 1 already with a 2-0 scoreline, which Team 1 got eliminated yesterday. So MiBR currently is the only Brazilian squad playing in the Pinnacle Cup. So maybe Young Ninjas will look to do the same thing. And talking about Young Ninjas coming up against MiBR, like a little while back, I believe a couple of weeks ago, did come out head-to-head with NIP, the main squad of this organization. They managed to get a map of that team, but it wasn't quite a dominating one per se. So I'm really interesting to see how far off the apple is from the tree. You know, how far off is Young Ninjas in contrast with that main lineup?
Yeah, and I think that is going to be one of the big narratives here. You want to see whether or not the Young Ninjas have the same oomph as the main roster. I mean, on paper, of course, yeah, they don't, okay? Let's not sugarcoat that at all. But this is their opportunity to shine. This is their opportunity to have a yardstick to show that they're capable of being the ninjas by themselves, that the apple doesn't need to rely on the tree.
Absolutely, but let's head in right into the VSO to see how this matchup will commence, what the maps will be at play, and we'll start things off with the bans coming forwards. MiBR, the first team to get their ban across Nuke, will be out of the equation instantly. Young Ninjas do take Outdust 2 as they don't really like that map. Mirage being picked up first. We're seeing a Puggy-styled map, Inferno, as well, to be followed up by the Young Ninjas side, and as the rest of the bans do commence, we are left with Ancients. Ooh, okay, spicy. How do you feel about this endeavor?
Yeah, this is very interesting to me. I mean, Mirage and Inferno, there are no surprises because both of them are the best maps for either team, with the exception of Overpass, which is actually MIBR's best map. They've ended up banning it regardless. So maybe that's to avoid some kind of counterpick, or maybe they don't want to really reveal how they're playing Overpass just yet. That could definitely be it, because of course they don't want to reveal everything right now when they are at LAN. But on the other hand, Ancient being picked up, that's a bit of a question mark for me. The reason for that is that both teams haven't particularly found too much success on it. I mean, MIBR, they've played it 6 times and they've lost 5. So it's not like that they can feel too comfortable at all. Young Ninjas, once again, they've lost 2 out of the 3 times they've played it, and their win was against Budapest 5. So overall, this is not a battle of the Titans. This is a battle of the Stooges as far as Ancient is concerned. Both teams not really feeling too comfortable on it. You know, they just want to deathmatch it out. Perhaps that's what it's got to come down to, you know, pull off the gloves when it comes to the decider. But before that, of course, both teams are going to have to go neck and neck when it comes to Mirage and Inferno. Now, the one thing that I want to get into, X-Warrior, is that although both teams have picked the maps that favor them significantly, Inferno is a lot more favorable for Young Ninjas. But we're going to head straight into Mirage because the game is now live.
And of course, heading into the matchup, MiBR versus Young Ninjas, ladies and gentlemen. Starting things off on Mirage. The Pinnacle Cup odds do predict that MiBR might be favorable when it comes to the series, having a 1.49 to a 2.64 ratio when it comes to the odds. But let's see if that actually comes away. If you agree with them or not, that is up to you. You may opt to go to pinnacle.com/odds to make your own bets in that regard. But heading right onto the B site, Young Ninjas, they're looking to take all 5 players towards that site. One player does go towards under, maybe to sneak some movement. ZTR is that man, and oh man, ZTR, he also had so much experience heading over to the main squad of NIP for a little bit as well. It's really cool to see this experience being brought over to the Young Ninja side, already pushing through onto the site. SH says does get knocked down initially, but it is going to be being pushed nonetheless. Bolts looking for the headshots, connects with one, but it's Exit actually to find that one. Sapik does reply, but Bolts has another say in the matter. 2v3, but Young Ninjas are circling onto them. 1 for 1 in the regard there, but it means that Cello is all by himself against 2 players of the Young Ninjas.
That was a perfect flank from ZTR coming in from jungle. Now, all down to Cello, USB in hand, 1v2. Doesn't have a kit either, so he has to find 2 angles. Might have spotted ahead there as the smoke was fading, but both players unwilling to show their positions, both doubling down on Van. I don't think he's going to expect a second one in there. Spots the first head, but the head will find him first. Sapik comes out on top and puts Young Ninjas on the map.
Very nicely done from the Swedish side, getting that 1-0 on the board. And considering it is MiBR's map pick, it's nice. It's a nicer breath of fresh air for Young Ninjas to get things started off on a good point. The B site was good. The B site take was good for them, although it got dicey with Bolts getting 2 kills before he had to fall. The reload did dwindle his opportunities to getting a third because Sapik had time to get the rotation on him, get that alternative angle. But other than that, it was a close endeavor which Young Ninjas came out on top from, and for that regard, they've got better weaponry to deal with the situation now. Heading towards mid, it looks like they've got a nice setup to go wherever they may please.
Young Ninjas, they narrowly avoided that nade, and of course that allows them to not be as vulnerable to the Desert Eagles that MiBR have at play. For the most part, Young Ninjas, they should initially be a bit indecisive about where they want to go. They've left the bomb in B apartments, so this could be a short split. Considering the fact that a top connector smoke has come in, Yell, he should be the first line of defense or even offense as he starts to push in. But Exit, he's going to have to do a massive task here, and he comes up with 2 massive kills just the same. Bolts with a nade, he's going to supplement it, and all in just a flash, Young Ninjas, they might have put themselves on the board.
Oh, they might as well. Full-on buy-up working wonders for MiBR so far, but the 2 players from Young Ninja still alive, and Reigning Supreme, ZTR and Nilo both finding their shots. Nilo's so darn low. 1 bullet should do it wherever that bullet hits on his body, but ZTR pushes through. They dwindle it down to 1 player from a 4v2 to a 1v2, and Yell, he's the man that has to deal with this situation. Hasn't quite spotted out ZTR, or maybe he has, but ZTR is just too quick, and that gives Young Ninjas that 2-0 advantage.
What a save from the Young Ninjas, because that should have all been over after Exit and Bolts got 3 kills in that instance. Short was completely shut down, even with no help from the player that was outside the smoke from top connector, it didn't matter. Single-handedly, they were able to stop it, but it's simply not enough to stop the powerhouse that is ZTR. And that save, of course, does mean that MiBR, they themselves are going to have to save, just down to the USBs. And with a flashbang, this still gives them an opportunity at getting some damage in. The Mac 10, though, the Cha-Ching cannon, doesn't allow them to get away with any shenanigans, and it should all be over in a snap.
Yeah, it's a quick one. Very quick one, actually. I think MiBR made that easy for them. It's as if a shepherd just eased them into mid like sheep, and they got eliminated one by one. But this is where things get interesting, right, for us, because this is where MiBR have a chance with that buy round. I think Cello was considering, do I go for the AWP, do I not? Because now it's going to be a glass cannon endeavor. So it has to pay off. Otherwise, that is a really big investment coming out from Cello.
Whether or not he hits the first shot there might just change the outcome of the round, and he's been neutralized because the smoke will be impeding any progress that he can make over on mid. An early Molotov goes out to help clear out connector. Sopik, he moves right in, but Yell will come out on top in that duel. The M4 overruling connector. Molotov to potentially knock him out of position, but it doesn't matter because Cello, he's added one more to the tally. Lots of pressure on ZTR, but exit won't really allow him to get up to no good.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be a very close round, but well, a very one-sided round from MiBR to put them on the board, really. And Fizzy, I wonder if there's anything he can do. I mean, there's HSZ and Cello that are fairly low, but I think MiBR won their advantages across the map, right? Look at where the X's are on the map currently, right? There's one over at Chicken Nest, there's one over Connector, Ramp, and Palace as well.
That's a recovered AK, but that's also information being recovered by the CT side, and that means that Fizzy won't really get an opportunity to do much here. Maybe he wants to get away with the AK, of course, because he's got $5,250, and it's probably the better idea to get away with more weaponry. Now, I think the one man that is within reach as far as HP is concerned is SHZ, but I don't think he's going to be revealing himself anytime soon. Yell. Oh, no. I love how proactively he played that, waiting for the feet to show up.
Well, at least MiBR have themselves on the board now, so the Brazilians have got a piece of the pie they can work with, but I'm sure they want a bigger piece of it, right? And this is where momentum can be built up. Of course, Cello now has got that Kevlar being bought on him, Kevlar and helmets, and now they can feel a lot more comfortable. But it's up to Young Ninjas to switch up the tempo, switch up the pace. Although they've got some fairly default smoke they throw out pretty much every single round. Short catwalk and smoke, and of course the nest smoke coming in as well, does hide their attempt to head towards the connector side right now. But it seems like they do know of this movement.
Oh no, ZTR, he is hugging one of the CTs. Exit tries to make it expensive, but Rolf has already moved up short. Now it is all going to come down to Bolt, who is playing from backside. The bench will have to be his domain. If he can hold them down long enough, it should be good. But Nilo has taken him out of the server, and he adds one more to the tally. ZTR, his position is perfect, but he's waiting for the smoke, and Yell doesn't get a chance to do too much. ZTR hugging the grave, but he still comes out alive from that situation. SIZ, 1v3. Oh, not much of a chance here, is there, Pavlos?
Not much. Absolutely not. Rolf will give him no chance. But it was messy, wasn't it, for us? It was quite messy. All the kills across mid, kind of chaotic within smokes, within mollies. The fights taken by the Young Ninjas was fairly surprising. We can see the Pinnacle odds slowly showing that Young Ninjas have more of a say in this best of 3 series. But it's a technical pause to sort of slow things down a bit. But as I talk about Pinnacle, I might as well tell you guys about an offer the organization is now offering to you guys. You can bet €10 on esports heading over to pinnacle.com/odds, and you get €10 in return. But of course, you need to be a new customer, and you need to sign up with the code CUP21 to be eligible for this offer. But remember, betting also should be done in a fun and safe environment, which is why you must only bet what you can afford, and when the fun stops, do stop. Of course, full terms and conditions to apply, to make sure you check those out as well. But man, this is an interesting one, isn't it? Because MiBR, they've just been able to stop Young Ninjas from gaining any of their streak. Of course, this technical pause isn't very nice. Obviously, they just got their loss across. And you have to wonder, what on earth is going on? It all just matters on how MiBR bring things across here.
Yeah, already a bit of a shaky start, and Young Ninjas, they are looking solid. You can even see the yawns coming out, and he's like, it's whatever, it's start to the day. You know, just take it chill, feel a little sleepy, and still be knocking heads off of the server. But yeah, you can see that they look pretty relaxed. Off to a great start on their opponent's map pick, and they know that they're going to have a different level of comfort when it comes to Inferno. It is, of course, always a bit of a scary prospect, you know, going up against a team that is heavily preparing for a LAN, because they're going to have a lot of strategies up their sleeve that you do not expect. But at the same time, it's not like Young Ninjas are slouches at all. Don't let the scoreboard mislead you there. It's NIP with 4, and not MiBR. But in the meantime, Pavlos, why don't you tell us a little bit about Trustly?
Yeah, it would be a good note, wouldn't it? Considering that this game has already come fast in favor of NIP, getting that 4-1 scoreline, I think it's also a good idea for you guys to head over to Trustly, because they offer really quick payments from account to account. You don't need any cards or any app download or any registration really to make it work, but you can just simply use Trustly to make your online transfers very quick and safe. Of course, you can make payments from Trustly over at pinnacle.com/odds, where you'll find the latest in-play offerings for when it comes to MiBR versus Young Ninjas. And also remember that sports should be fun, so only play what you can afford. But it's quite early in the game to have a technical pause, isn't it, for us?
Yeah, quite early. It, of course, is a shame because MiBR's players, they ended up disconnecting, but now they do seem to be alive and kicking on the server. And as the buys start to come in, I do believe that all of these issues should be sorted out. You can see the guns being passed up, although we can't really see the respawn. We can still see it on the little HUD. Those guns, I mean, while we are on the subject of the guns being passed around, I do need to mention, Pavlos, that this is already an incredibly important round for MiBR. The reason for that is that as soon as the game has started, they've already dried out their money. In the next round, they will have about 2,900 to 3,200, and that's simply not enough for a CT-sided buy. NIP, on the other hand, they can start to build up some bank. But at the same time, the rounds have not been flawless. I mean, they've been far from it. You saw how Exit was getting kills with a Deagle, how Bolts was able to make those grenades so much more expensive. So it's not like they feel too comfortable here.
Well, at least the pause is over. We can get straight back into the action. No more messing around, as the buy round is coming across from both sides. MiBR, though, as you pointed out, they're on the brink of economical collapse, so a loss here would be a really bad point from them. The flash is perfect. Sapek had his elbow out in front of his eyes, therefore couldn't quite see Exit swinging past him with a kill going his way. Early pick does mean that Young Ninja's attack has been quite dwindled down, and they need to make a decision of where they want to approach, because MiBR, they've got a good setup across the map. 3 players onto the A site, 2 across B. No one really going and testing out this B mid control, but MiBR, this read is perfect.
Yeah, the AWP and the bait and switch with the M4, the wide swing, it still ends up working out for Nilo. The second pot shot doesn't work out in Cello's favor, and that allows the T's to sprawl onto the A site. Now Yellow's going to have a big task ahead of him. The flashbang in the smoke will keep him at bay. ZTR gets free entry onto the bomb site, and the bomb should be planted comfortably, shouldn't it?
Absolutely should, but look at Yell. It looks like he's eager to get pushed through the smoke. Oh, no. He holds around a little bit, waits for the smoke to dissipate. Bolts as well, together. The corporation, oh, ZTR gets one, but Bolts is quick to trade onto Fizzy. Still a close endeavor, it's down to 2 and 2. ZTR still taking nade damage as well. 21 points of health on the man, and it's not going to be an easy endeavor when it comes to it, but he's got a backstab being boiled up. Ooh, this is spicy. Nilo will greet them, but Bolts greets him with a bullet instead. They know exactly where ZTR is, and he won't be able to do any damage in that prospect. MiBR are back in it with a second round on the board for them.
Yeah, it was the responsibility of the player on the A side to make sure that he can stay alive long enough for ZTR to be left unchecked. Because if they peek down connector and they don't find ZTR, the only natural 2 other explanations are that, okay, maybe he circled all the way around and he's going to peek us from short for the bomb, or he jumps up into nest. They check nest, there he is. They found him. And this time, I believe it was a technical pause coming out from NIP. I think it was Fizzy that ended up disconnecting, and pretty sure we're going to see a round reset here. Not for the previous round, I mean this one, because Fizzy, I think he didn't spawn with the money, but regardless. I'm really happy to see that MiBR have turned it up a notch as far as the gameplay is concerned, because this is the ideal opportunity to do just that. When you have the option of breaking down the T-side economy, you've got to capitalize on it, because if you know that otherwise they're going to run away with it, absolutely.
Of course, we didn't mention MiBR are at LAN currently. They're in Europe, and it looks like they're in a hotel. Messy beds. Looks like they may be great at Counter-Strike, but not really good at making their beds. In that regard, I don't think that was the first thing they thought of when they woke up. Because
they're probably just waiting for room service anyway.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right now, I reckon there's a handle out. Do not disturb.
Yeah.
We're playing Counter-Strike. We're playing for multiple thousands of dollars worth of prize money. Just don't bother us. Not thousands, tens and potentially hundreds of thousands. Well, literally it's 100,000 prize pool overall in the tournament. So let's just say tens of thousands, because no one's really gonna run away with a whole 100,000.
You can see that in the statistics being powered by Trustly, that ZTR going up against Yell 4-0 in duels. That has a big impact on the server, and we already saw it unfold on the pista round. ZTR, he is large and in charge at the moment, going 9-2. So as far as he's concerned, it's a great way to start things off.
It's crazy how close this Swiss Cup, the Swiss stage of this cup is here in Pinnacle Cup II. All of the teams competing are so close, and there's not much really to differentiate them. Differentiates, and looking at the whole table currently with all the teams, it's really difficult to sort of see which one of the teams, which teams will qualify to the playoffs. It's really difficult to say. Really could be anyone's game, and I think either of these teams have potential to do it.
Yeah, but this is an incredibly important round, Pavlos, because both teams, they're going to be a bit lacking as far as loss bonus is concerned. Even the CT side exit, that's a great way to start things off as Sapik. His head has been firmly removed from his shoulders. Young Ninjas now with a man deficit. They've lost a fair bit of control on mid, and they might even allow Yell to maybe get a bit cheeky with it on mid, as he will be able to find a duel on its own. The foot has been spotted. Yell, I think that might have just been the misleading X-ray, because Yell hasn't been able to spot Fizzy. He doesn't peek out. Maybe he thinks it's bait, but regardless, as soon as the smoke starts fading, things should get hot.
Absolutely will. Young Ninjas, they're challenging this catwalk side. I imagine a smoke will be thrown out as well for them to cross Molly over at Sniper's Nest, and now they're going to push through. Exit, they line up for him, but it's Yell to finish up the pieces. Cello as well chimes in for one. It's an absolute dismantle round from MiBR, shutting down Young Ninjas and getting themselves a third. That was a good round from the Brazilians.
I love how Yell was stone cold the entire round, and then he peeks out when he's needed. The lineup, it might have not worked out in the favor of the AK on short, but it's good enough to prime them up for Yell. Just shoot them through the smoke. Doesn't even need to be on that part of the map to participate in that duel. And now MiBR, they're closing up the numbers, and as far as I'm concerned, this is already an equalizer, because there is nothing that they can do with the Glocks. Not even a flashbang to supplement the push. I would have liked to see ZTR on a flashbang, because that can significantly change the outcome of the round. Maybe you get away with an AK or an AWP, something of that sort. Unfortunately, though, the only AWP they're getting away with is Cello's right through their heart.
Yeah, no, Cello's having a bit of fun. He's just lining up shots at this point. And, okay, I know this is a pistol round, but even with the previous rounds, it just feels like MiBR are capable of getting some entry frags out of the start. Like, From the get-go, they already have the numbers advantage coming into them into the round, which gives them a stellar chance of closing things out, especially knowing that their lineup is a lot stronger than their positions. Of course, this was a pistol round, so I guess it still falls into place as they were the first team to get a kill. But the reason why they were able to collect the previous ones as well was down to that first frag, I believe.
Absolutely. Doesn't feel like NIP are able to get onto a bomb site without losing a couple of their members. The lineups on short, especially the nade somehow working out, connector being very difficult to challenge. It feels like MiBR has both mid and B under lock and key, and now Young Ninjas, maybe they've recognized this. They want to go for something of a more traditional style of execute. SHZ wants to push up close, perhaps catch Fizzy off guard because they're not going to anticipate that position, but it's the double peek. The A side is wide open for the taking, but Cello's made it a bit more palatable.
Absolutely. Now they're going to trickle on forwards. Double smoke towards the jungle and connector side, where one singular smoke will be thrown out towards the ticket booth. They do have space to work with, though. The numbers are being pressured. Gap to the smoke potentially could be capitalized upon, but Sapik will move up against it. It's a little shortly to dissipate, but he expects 3 players in that corner. Gets one before he dies, but still, the bomb hasn't gone down. Bomb being planted. Not quite, actually. It's taking its time. The time is being pressured. The position is being pressured. The map is closing in on them, but look at the movement coming in from ZTR. He won't be pressuring yet. I think MiBR are eager to hold back a bit, bait Young Ninjas to push on forwards to catch them off guard. Rolf, he needs to get the bomb down, realizes there's space towards the connector side, but Bolts inches forwards. Nilo is out of the equation. Rolf looking for a kill. Delivers on one, but has to relocate for the second. It's as if ZTR isn't quite in the fight just yet, but look at Exit. He's coming in from the jungle side, but he doesn't check the corner, and ZTR is there to deliver. It's all down to Bolts, and they know exactly where he's coming from. Looks in the wrong direction. Rolf turns around, and Young Ninjas will be taking this round home.
I love how patiently Rolf played it. Instead of going out for a duel and making it harder for ZTR to recover things, he waited it all the way around because he knew that the line of sight being presented by ZTR, he could watch the cross from connector, and that Rolf didn't really have to do anything. They could easily carve out a 2 versus 1 and 2 different angles. So they played that to near perfection, and now MiBR, they're going for a timeout. And the reason for that is their tricky economy. They've got to crunch some of the numbers because there are 3 players that are subpar as far as economy is concerned, but Bolts and Exit, they are good for an entire buy of their own.
Wow. It's looking strong. Talking about a buy, though, €10 on a bet in esports over at Pinnacle gets you €10 in return. But by using the code CUP21 upon sign up, we'll give you that offer. So make sure you go and take advantage of that. But while there, yes, it's a difficult endeavor when it comes to money on the side of MiBR. But I kind of want to allude you to the prospect where you said crunch. They need to crunch the numbers. I've heard that. I've heard that being said multiple times when it comes to economics or crunching numbers. I have no idea what that word means. What
Crunching the numbers?
Meant by crunching numbers. Yeah, what do? Do you just put them in your mouth and eat them?
Oh boy.
What, do you have an answer to me? Do you know what crunching the numbers means?
I'm not going to answer so that you have to figure it out through life, just through life experiences.
All right, I'm just going to consider that numbers are just a physical thing that you just can put in your mouth and nibble on.
It's like breakfast cereal?
Yeah, something like that. Kellogg's.
Crunchos?
Yeah, have some cornflakes for breakfast. Crunch them up. Imagine if you had, like, shapes.
I mean, there's probably a cereal that exists that has, like, the flakes are in the shape of numbers or something along those lines.
Yeah, maybe. I know there's pasta.
But speaking of numbers, Young Ninjas, they've got the numbers on A site, but so do MiBR as a response, and they've got the guns to deal with this as well. Moving right on in, Young Ninjas, they're going to have to do things the old-fashioned way as Nilo. But Staggalil's a good use. The smoke allows them to recover, but Nilo, he gets a kill through the smoke. Does the player in Firebox get checked?
Ooh, Yell. No, that's the answer. No, he doesn't get checked. He might run away with 2, picks up an AK-47, and now he's a menace in a sneaky position. Smoke being drawn out, so he can still stick in that position without being too hurt. But Cello has now found his way onto the site. He's here to help out, and Rolf needs to find the kill before he is killed himself. Cello puts that AWP to the test, and Fizzy will do the same thing, but he's down all by himself. 19 points of health remaining. Needs to reposition, find one kill. Swings out, but he needs to be careful because they can slowly close the angle on him, but it looks like MiBR don't want to challenge this. Fizzy! Oh dear, this isn't looking great. Exit will be able to move across as the commotion ensues and will close the gap with Young Ninjas. 5-5 on the scoreline currently.
It's a bit unfortunate to see because Fizzy had multiple opportunities to make it into 2 1-versus-1s. He did, but he simply couldn't land those shots. I like the attempts at pre-firing, but the repositioning from Yell all the way to the right corner, that worked out perfectly for him. And now these teams, they are going neck and neck. But you know what, Pavlos? I think Young Ninjas are still pretty happy about this because they are on the T side. You know, they don't have that much of an advantage, and they're putting it to good use. Now the baby AKs, the Tech 9s. I use the word baby AK interchangeably for both Galils and Tech 9s.
It's the same thing.
It's basically the same thing, just a little bit more expensive for Galil. But watch this, Pavlos.
Oh, bolts with the MP9, that close angle could do wonders for him. It might just do just that, but no. Only one kill going to Bolts' way. Sapik is able to get himself the punish with a headshot. Rolf as well, but Yell and Exit quickly on their feet. The bomb just goes down, but Fizzy needs to find his way close to that smoke. Try and close the distance. Exit, he's been headshotted. Down to 3 points of health, but still not down. Sapik does go down in the process, but Fizzy is left all by himself. Not for long, though, as Exit takes him out of his misery, but it's still MiBR to find the lead here and take it from Young Ninjas, as they've been the ones in the front foot this entire game.
I think this is still decent damage that came out from Young Ninjas, and now they've got the money to buy up. ZTR and Nilo, unfortunately for them, they're going to have to be served the short end of the stick. And how about we take a quick look at the odds here, Pavlos, because Young Ninjas, they are not favored here. 2.5 to 1.5 something for Young Ninjas to MiBR. And you can see that MiBR have a little bit more confidence in them. I personally think Young Ninjas are a bit favored here, considering that second map. But the question is whether or not it even gets to the point where Young Ninjas can 2-0 it. Ancient, of course, being anybody's game, who knows? But I think we need to focus right here on Mirage because Sapik's got him the opening kill.
Absolutely. Mid being taken over. Of course, AWP at hand for him. How do they take advantage onwards?
Oh no.
Double that up, Sapik. He's found another. SH Shazzy, he's nearby. The spray down could be good for him, but in the process, Rolf is able to delete Yell. But still, pressuring Young Ninjas. They're eager to get themselves in the mid push, but look at
can
Bolts.
change everything.
The wraparounds, headshot connects onto ZTR, closes the kill. Still a 2v3, so within the realms of possibility for MiBR to completely change the tide of this round. But as I do say that, Rolf, he's a master of ripping heads apart, and he's done just that. SHC, the final player remaining, but Rolf isn't going to leave that for too long. It's a deagle round from Young Ninjas to put them right back in the game.
I love how Rolf was just able to get deagle kills left and right. Doesn't even need a gun for it. Just says, life has many doors, that boy.
Oh, man.
Oh, man, that name, it rings so many bells. Oh, God, don't tell me you haven't watched Ed, Ed, and Eddie. Oh, no. No, Pavlos, don't do this to me. You didn't get the reference.
I didn't get the reference. I'm sorry. But I now will get all the Kung Fu Panda references you'll ever make. I've rewatched every single one of those movies.
Wonderful.
Yes. And it's so good. I'm actually learning Uguay's Ascend on piano right now. Oh, so good. Such a good tune. MiBR, they're a little bit pressured, and even though they were the ones to gain the lead a couple of rounds ago, that's not the case anymore, because Young Ninjas look like they're eager to retake control over the driving seat, right? Yeah, although that's a sneaky position from him, looking at his shoelaces as he's got a new sparkly ones. He's like to be taken over though, and I think MiBR have a good setup here. It won't really matter when it comes to the AK-47s. All three have been completely quashed as Yell and Shallow now are looking to play catch. But apart from that, Young Ninjas, it's a solid take from them, and it's a solid round to go their way.
Yeah, there wasn't really much they could have done off of the USBs, but at the same time, Young Ninjas, they've carved themselves out a bit of a bank account, haven't they? I mean, Rolf sitting on 6,000, and that loss bonus will supplement this even further. The CTs, they should be beginning to they should be feeling the pressure at this point, because Young Ninjas, they're getting away with that 7th, and they're firmly cementing the idea that they will have money in the next 2 rounds as well. So having to go up against 2 gun rounds with 2 shoddy buys of your own, I don't know about that. Oh no, Yell.
Oh no! Well, I guess he distracted them long enough for Cello to get a kill, so it could have been worse.
Yeah, it's participation points. He gets a little medal. You know, the kind that gets distributed to all the kids at school because they're like, we don't want anyone to feel bad.
That's basically the only sort of medal I have at home. I've got.
It would actually be. Go on then.
Yeah, no, I was about to say I've got like a whole box full of participation medals.
That's sort of the line of thinking I was going with. What if somebody had like a trophy wall or something where it's just participation medals? Like, yeah, I tried.
I mean, I don't have them on display. They're definitely in the box, but Cello wants to put that kill on display as Rolf is instantly taken out of the equation. Let's see if they can carry things on forwards. Those young ninjas taking the advantage towards the A side. Molly thrown out. SHC having to move out of position, gets crushed by Sapik, and now it is young ninjas topsy-turving this round as they do have the advantage currently. Cello can't really spot out the player as he is in ladder room. No, actually, no, he's on top. I think I spotted him. I got bamboozled by the X-ray, and Nilo is able to get a kill. 2v4, and young ninjas. They
Look at where the bomb is going.
They're tired of this round. But as you said, yeah, they're moving towards the B site instead, and they might have bamboozled completely in MiBR at this point.
Yeah, there's nothing that Bolts and Exit can do about it. And I love how Exit is still anticipating Nilo to be on the ledge and hop on into window. So he has the pre-fire angle ready, but now he's been spotted out. This makes things a lot trickier as far as saves are concerned. And heading on into the last round, they need to hold on to these weapons. Exit. He manages to stay true to his name and get an exit frag. Well, that should be all she wrote. Fizzy. He's gotten it. He's just spoiled the next round for MiBR.
Yeah, he might. He might have done just that. But I think Exit is looking for an exit. Quite frankly, AWP also being picked up. Not too bad, right? But as you said, young ninjas, I think they've already spoiled what MiBR have built up. Because look at their money. Quite frankly, they've got zilch going on for them.
Mm-hmm. That's a dinner at a nice restaurant, and Exit is probably gonna have to foot most of that bill, so he's not too happy about that affair.
I haven't gone to a fancy restaurant in a long time for us. Don't test me.
I mean, that's why we're waiting for us to hop on a LAN, so I can take you to a nice, nice dinner.
Take me on a date. How about that? Mm.
Take me on a trip. I like to go someday. Pavlos is cute. All right.
Will you be my wild daddy boy? All right. Yeah. Back in the game, though, young ninjas, they look to be ahead at half-time, and they may even want to extend that lead, considering MiBR have only got Deagles to work around with. Wouldn't be the first round we'll be seeing the Deagles come out victorious this map, but it would be the first time maybe seeing MiBR pulling that off. Aggression towards mid so far. I'm actually surprised how Cello is playing this, but they need to find an advantage from somewhere and Exit if that have found just that. AK now being drawed out. Ooh, but Cello's going to be challenged momentarily. Deagle at hand, but Smoke being refurbished. Sapik putting that kill on the scoreboard, but Yell still sticking around on the secondary smoke. CTR, oh, he doesn't spot him. Why does he look behind him into the smoke? He doesn't quite find it. Yell as well. Oh no, this is chaos for young ninjas. They've lost 3 players, and MiBR might be able to win out on their Deagle round.
That was near perfect positioning from Yell, the way he was able to get it done, and SNZ, he's not making it any easier, is he? Rolf being put back in the grave. It's just Fizzy remaining, 1 on 4. Very few opportunities, but at least he's got the bomb to work with. Full set of utility. He is as kitted out as you can possibly be, save for a nade. That's the first kill. That's the opening opportunity. And now, with some quick movement, he's going to head on straight into ladder room. Can he find the frag on B?
Can he? I think he's making too much noise. And the fact that Exit is there and waiting. Ooh, missed shot, missed opportunity. But he still falls back. And it's Exit to swing out again to put MiBR on that 7th. It couldn't have been a closer affair, really. I expected Young Ninjas to get the 9th after that economical standpoint from MiBR, but no, we've been proven wrong. And the Pinnacle odds are now very confused. Who is going to win it? We're not sure. Slightly favoring MiBR, but it really could be anyone's game.
And I think the odds are in that way because if NIP can win the first map, then it should all be downhill for MiBR because you know the amount of experience that young ninjas have. They are so comfortable at flexing their muscles as far as Banana is concerned, as far as brackets control is concerned. They have no reservations about it. But heading on over to the second half pistol round, this is going to have a lot of impact on the rest of the game. MiBR, they want to move right into B.
They are doing just that. Rolf does fall back, and as he's falling, gets a headshot. Wow. Okay, Savage, though, doesn't have much of a say in the matter. As Rolf also, as he tries to fall back, does get deleted. 3v4 as MLB have got the numbers. Make that 4v2 as ZTR can't do anything about it as he's now out of the server. Cello does pull out the Glock, and Nilo does find the trade. But is that enough, really? He needs to find 3 kills, stick to DQs. He's got a kit, which does make things slightly easier. But considering that MiBR are now just going to play it safe and try and play whack-a-mole, really, fall back. Nilo does get one delivered right at his doorstep, but the rest of them are going to hold back. He needs to go for them himself. Pushes through. 1 bullet was required onto Bolt, and now it's down to Yell. Gets the bait on through, but I think Yell has been spotted. Ooh, does he stick it again? Waits for it, repositions, doesn't get the headshot. That is it. He doesn't have another chance. He can't do anything about it. And for that reason, MiBR, they're going to be winning the pistol round.
Yeah, Nilo wants to stick around for the long haul, but at the end of the day, MiBR, that was a good round from them. I feel a bit bad for Nilo because he was able to get away with 3 frags. And he got zilch out of it. Nothing. Nada. This is a start that MiBR desperately needed, though. If they want to secure their own map, they've got to have something impressive as far as the T side is concerned. And look at Exit going 6-0 against Fizzy in duels. That's a bit surprising, especially considering that Fizzy is the AWP player on Young Ninjas. But you know what? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. The reason for that being that, of course, when you are on the CT side, you're going to have a bit more opportunity as far as that Green Goblin is concerned. MiBR.
I mean, they've gone for the gamble, haven't they? Young Ninjas. And it's just a matter if MiBR are able to sniff it out. Because I do believe if they do end up taking the avenue towards short, they'll be in a world of hurt. And it could be another Deagle round coming across. Rolf already delivers, but they're actually falling in for the baits. Exit does push forwards. They may consider this could be the opportunity they're required. Does he check that angle again? No, he doesn't. ZTR does deliver, but still a lot of damage being inflicted. Fizzy coming in with a backstab. He's successful in finding a kill. Now MiBR have got the chance with the AKs, but Fizzy, with a rifle being accumulated by him, this is still a doable endeavor. Gets up close. Deagle as well. He's wary of a rotation coming in. Of the wraparound. Look at that. It is coming in. He spotted it, but it's too late. Cello puts bullets right through his heart, and it's MiBR now with the lead.
That was a very good attempt from Fizzy, but it doesn't end up working out for him. Had he found the head there in apartments, I think everything would have fallen apart for MiBR. But Young Ninjas, their investment hasn't truly paid off. This is where they have to take the L, where they have to allow MiBR to get to double digits and then play off of a much better economy. Luckily for them, they've been able to support MiBR's, well, the majority of MiBR's players, and that has kept their economy in check. You can see that even with the 1 rounds, Yell, Cello, and Exit, they're on that, around that $400 to $1,000 mark, and it's not too much that they can do about it.
Yeah, Exit's just racking up stats right now. That is pretty much what he's going to do about it.
That AK recovered by ZTR, I think that significantly helps the CT side economy. Maybe that's another AWP rebuy, and that can definitely change the outcome of a game. But the question is whether or not ZTR can actually hold on to his horses. Keep that Fire Serpent firmly locked into his hands. Super glue it.
Yeah, I think that's the matter. But if they cut off his hands, there's nothing really that super glue will have an effect. There's no effect that super glue will even have.
I mean, it's still going to be in his hands, but he's not going to have his hands anymore.
yeah, basically. Well, yeah, no. He doesn't have his head either. It's been ripped apart. But you know what? This is a change of pace from MiBR. And even though they weren't successful in taking the lead from the CT side, it feels like they're a different beast when it comes to the terrorist side. Having the tempo, and they're the ones dictating the pace of it, and where them electing what fights they want to take, is something that this Brazilian side really fancies. And sort of one of the reasons why they're actually successful on Mirage, substantially, it is that T side that actually works out most for them. So maybe that is where they can start putting things to an end.
Oh, I like how Sopic wanted to keep them on the bomb site, and that might have just been good enough to kill Cello. Nope,
Nah.
not at all. Nah. It's actually quite easy to get away from the bomb on Mirage, so I guess that did help out a fair bit, but this is where we can see the odds being shifted back into the favor of MiBR. They are on double digits. It is their own map pick, but this is also NIP's opportunity to bring it back. Fizzy, he's going to have to do major work with the AWP, do a lot more heavy lifting, because everybody else on the roster, they have been turning up, with the exception of the sniper. So for them to bring it that close without his help so far, it's interesting, but look at this, man. The cavalry's moving right in, and Rolf will be caught out.
He pushes through, does get one kill, but does rotate for the other, gets the cover. Fizzy able to deliver onto SHZ, but look at that. Sapik moving across the smoke, already pressure being inflicted onto the MiBR side. They can't get the bomb on site, and without the bomb going on site, they can't plant it. Sapik putting that gap of the smoke to the test, goes to the other side of it. Exit takes a lot of damage, but he gets the kill in the process. Does get killed though. The trades are on point for MiBR, but Young Ninjas somehow are running out ahead. The rotations have already come in. They were so quick on their feet. And I do like the rotation coming in towards lower, just in case there's a rotation to come out from them. But now they realize that Boltz, the only thing he can do is push onwards. 1 minute remaining, but he's only got 8 points of health remaining on him. Young Ninjas, they're coming in from the same location, but I think they're going to wait for the bomb plant. There's no reason for them to sort of inflict the pressure.
Oh, this could work perfectly for Boltz.
Wait.
If he gets the drop on them, because they're not watching it at all.
way.
Those are two
No
kills
way.
being lined up.
No
Boltz!
Oh! Order has been restored, but that could have been deadly. ZTR turns in time, but you can tell there's a lot of pressure on their shoulders after that.
That got so close. Had one of the players not been ducking, it could have all been over. What an attempt by Boltz, and that might have just saved the game for Young Ninjas if they end up winning this out. Of course, that still does mean that there was a fair bit of economical damage, but you're gonna have to wait and see how this cements itself onto the scoreboard. Fizzy and Sopic, a kill apiece. Now, almost guaranteeing that they're gonna have double digits unless Cello can have something to say about it. He's got the bomb, making his way over onto A.
That's a good note for Young Ninjas to bounce back here. That's what they want. That's what they require. They could even take it further. It's all that handy economy we've been talking about all day long, right? It's that unending deal that if you've lost all your money, basically the money. That's the world to go around. Ooh, what is this being communicated? They're like, ooh, yeah, Rolf is behind that smoke. Yeah, we know. He's just confirming it. I wonder what's being said. What's being said?
Oh yeah, they're gonna double peek it.
Oh, they knew. They knew. I
The
love
universal language.
that. The CS:GO nod.
The curse CS:GO nod.
Although their endeavor towards the upper apartments does work out, but as they do push on site, their push was expected. Therefore, the capitalization has come through. 10 to 10, double digits across the board.
It should be mostly a throwaway round for MiBR, and this is an opportunity for NIP to pull on ahead. But yeah, the nod actually reminded me of how it's this underlying language that people use when communicating in games. It's the fact that if you jump a couple times, people know that you're asking them to follow you. If you crouch, you're like, okay, yeah, look at me.
Yeah.
Or
now
if you
it's
shoot
like,
somewhere,
we're going
it's
for
like
a contact play, like sneaky push with me. Yeah, I get that.
If you shoot somewhere, you're like, yeah, no, pay attention to this. Not just CS:GO, by the way. I mean, of course, in CS:GO,
yeah.
Yeah, in CS:GO, of course, information matters a lot more, so you're not going to shoot to point something, especially with the tagging system now, but in other games, for sure. Yeah, as we were talking about,
games have implemented the ping system as well, so
it was Apex that really pioneered it, right?
I'm not sure. I think it existed somewhere else. I'm pretty sure about that.
I think the most convenient pings were probably in Apex, especially as far as FPS games are concerned. I might not know because I haven't really played things like Destiny. Maybe they have a better system. I actually have very little knowledge about games like that, but I mean, you know, spending all day and just like playing these competitive FPS games.
Actually, the last time I remember pinging being a really good point is in Portal 2 when you were in the co-op, right?
Oh
the
yeah,
pinging
you're
system
right.
where it was very, very accurate, and that's a lot older than the games you mentioned.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that it wasn't as elaborate. Like, for example, in Apex, you can ping at certain things and you can have commands being given out. Like, you know, different types of weapons, different directions, whether or not you have to move in, so things of that sort. But
Yeah.
I think Portal has a pretty straightforward system, like, you know, just go here. But speaking of going somewhere, I think MIB are getting ready for the A push.
They absolutely are. 2 players from the Young Ninja side holding this through, but the rotations are quickly coming out. Look at the movement. They're coming in fast, quick on their feet. But MiBR, they put a pause to the take because Cello's moved up towards short. They're going to wait for him to be on that backstab angle, but I think the wait won't come in because Young Ninjas, they've stopped them in their tracks. Uh-oh. But Cello, does he check the apartment side? I don't think he'll be greeting anyone. But this is where they could find the advantage. Do they expect someone to have moved up from under? I don't think they have. And that could be their downfall. I think they realized that, oh, Cello, that would have been their saving grace. And Sapik, the fact that he stuck himself into that corner, there's nothing they can do about it. Gets both as well. That is a clean sheet from Young Ninjas this round.
And I want to talk about the implications of this round, Pavlos, because Young Ninjas, it's not just the fact that they've gotten rounds, it's the fact that they've gotten them so cleanly, so flawlessly, truly ninja-like, and that allows them to build up a monster of a gold pile. Just look at how comfortable they're feeling as far as their money is concerned. MIBR, they're not going to be afforded that same privilege. It's closing in on 10K for Fizzy. Everybody else over 5,000. And MIBR, they realize they've got to make the good old Tech 9 play. Does the Rush B come to fruition, though?
Flash coming out, MIBR looking to move on forwards with the Tech Knights, trying to get an advantage. First kill found. Can they deliver further? I think they're running out of smokes here, so it does make the take a lot more harder, but they do get the bomb across, which is kind of their end game, really. That's what they wanted to do. But the extra damage is most welcome. ZTR will look to push through. Bolts with the AK-47 he is at hand. He will be a very menacing player for the Young Ninja side, and still anyone's game at this point. Finding smoke being drawn out, Flash as well as they do trickle in forwards. Exit behind the smoke as one from site has been already taken over. SHC being a menace with that deagle. Will he look for the other one? Yes, he does, but he's not successful in finding it. Nilo does line things up, and so will the rest of them. They do get themselves a defuse without a problem in the world. But, you know, losing 2 players in the bomb plant, MIBR, they've had a stellar performance at least in this round, considering they only had pistols to work with.
Yeah, the only better case scenario would be if they were able to win out the round with Tech 9s. Obviously, it's very unlikely, but the bomb plan and the loss bonus, they're good enough to afford them as much utility as they'd like. And because their loss bonus is 3,400 at this point, money is the least of their concerns. They want to stop NIP right in their tracks, but it doesn't look like Young Ninjas are showing any signs of slowing down. Oh, look at this early push. ZTR, he's given up his position, and a Molotov will keep them at bay. Make sure that they can't cross on over to the box. Young Ninjas, this 2-man push, it works out in their favor. And Sapik has already found the opening frag. This puts a lot of additional pressure on MIBR to perhaps try to equalize the numbers, but at least they've gotten Sapik down low.
Absolutely. That is something that they'll try and utilize later, but the advantage for Young Ninjas still holds. They haven't really put a substantial dent into their lineup. Oh, what a swing! SHC!
Question
that was
mark?
all from under. He just swings out, fires a headshot. That was insane. But how can they translate that into a victory? Can they move on forwards? Their pace has been stopped due to nades, and Sapik will find his way onto the site to stop the push to consume any longer. 3 against 3 as things have been tied up again, and MiBR might have to reconsider their approach again.
I'm not sure what I just watched, but I think we're about to watch a lot more of that. Yell, a quick 1v1 with Nilo will go his way, and that's the A site being opened up. MIBR have a genuine shot at being contenders in this map once again as they start to come back into it. All 3 players now rejoining. And it's all down to Rolf and Sapik to try to get something done. Sapik already low on HP, courtesy of the 2 duels he had found earlier. Rolf, he's going to have to do most of the heavy lifting, and with the bomb already being planted and players on the left side of the map, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, absolutely will. Out of utility, just a singular piece of Flash, really. And they
Singular
realized
piece of
that
flash.
singular piece of flash. Yeah, my English is just
Yeah, not just a flashbang. It's just shrapnel from the flashbang.
yeah, right, exactly. That's
just flick
they
it with
found
your
a
index
broken flashbang and they just put it in their pockets and say, "Ha, we have a flash." But it basically acts like a decoy at this point. No, it's just that's just my English being thrown into the road and a van just like completely driving over it. Then a bus came over as well and did some extra damage onto it. And no, yeah. Apart from that, no. Let's get back into the context of the game because MiBR are now on 11th, which is basically an arm's length away from the Young Ninja scoreline, and also puts their opponents' economy to the test. Still anyone's game, though Young Ninjas seem to be favored when it comes to the Pinnacle odds. Let's look at this replay, though. Peekaboo!
Oh my goodness.
That is marvelous.
Was that some kind of lineup that SXZ had ready? Because I cannot believe that somebody would be able to... Yeah. Against the double scoped AWP? Woo! But look at the setup from MiBR. Once again, they're allowing SXZ to have free reign over the B bomb site. Try to work out picks to his own comfort. Other than that, 2 on mid, 2 on A. And Young Ninjas, they're trying to play it a little bit more proactively. Sapik wants to keep taking small peeks on short, but it's not like he's being afforded the privilege of spotting out a player. And as MiBR start closing in on mid, the pressure is on Young Ninjas to have a little bit more information. Passivity has mostly been the name of the game for Young Ninjas in this round, and I think that is something that might cost them because they have no idea where most of the attention is.
Absolutely not, though. The mid control does continue from MiBR. Smoke from the Young Ninjas to challenge it as well.
Yeah, it became increasingly harder for them to push up short because you can see that Sapik threw out a defensive smoke because he's anticipating them pushing into catwalk off of the top connector smoke as a reaction. But MiBR now, they want to go back to the drawing board, maybe take the fight to B apartments.
Slowly but surely, SHC to lead the charge. He's very low, but Snade will be people to put him to the ground. Quick on their feet, though. Look at the rotation from Young Ninjas. They're not shying away from the rotation, although one may want to stick around. No, it's actually the full enforcement of this retake. Rolf does hide out on an off angle behind this bench side, but it's a nade to close out Fizzy's life. Oh dear, the timing. It's not right for the Young Ninjas. Rolf looks away, and ZTR, that's not a good weapon to peek on through because Volt now have a fair warning of when he approaches. MiBR, they're closing things up here, 12 to 13, and they're well within breathing distance of Young Ninjas.
Where I previously thought that their economy was near indomitable for the Young Ninja side, that was off of the idea that they keep winning rounds. But now, they've had to dig deep. They're up to their elbows as far as digging into their pockets is concerned, and I don't think they'll have enough change to pull out for the next round. You can see that statistic by Sapik, I mean going 7-2. That certainly makes the game a lot easier, but apparently not easy enough just yet. MiBR, most of the time, they try to play this isolated style where Young Ninjas can easily capitalize off of it with some aggression, but that's not something they've been going for. I do think that the passivity from Young Ninjas is actually coming back to bite them, because otherwise they'd be able to find isolated duels, and they simply haven't done that just yet. They do throw a wrench in the works now, where they have Fizzy playing up a lot more aggressively and Sapik peeking directly into underpass, but this is one of those rounds where MiBR hasn't contested mid, so while that gives them information, it's still just not enough to know where the bomb is going. Look at this adjustment from Sapik. He knows what's happening.
It does. No, I'm just wondering now. It's Sapik here. He's going for the backstab, and it's just a matter of time when MiBR opt to push, really. So he needs to be somewhat quick. Ooh, now he does. But MiBR pushing, and it's a distraction technique, which has worked out wondrously for MiBR, because now they're pushing onto the site. There's only one player holding it, and he's been eliminated instantly. That's the take for them. And in the process, MiBR have also taken over the B site. So it's as if Young Ninjas are out from the outside looking in and saying, wait, hey, where they can plant anywhere, where do we go? But shortly, no. The audio cue has been given out to the A site, and which it is exactly where MiBR have spent most of their players. They're winning out across the board entirely, and they're being challenged. Now, a lot of movement being heard here from SHC, and they'll be looking to get these kills as they do cross forwards. But overall, it's a really wonderful round to come out from MiBR across the map as well, playing it wondrously. Although trades do still ensue, it's MiBR that comes out on top with 4 players remaining.
MiBR have put a dent and a half in Young Ninjas. Although, because they had some leeway as far as the round differential was concerned, they do have some loss bonus to work with. That 2,900 nicely pats their wallets on the back, but it's not enough for the CT-sided economy. There would be an argument to make if they were on the T, but unfortunately for them, their buy will be a bit scattered. Rolf, he gets the short end of the stick by getting the literal shorter weapon, the MP9. And this is where the scoreline is all tied up. Either team winning a round, it could significantly impact the pace of the game, but Young Ninjas, this is a lot more important for them, because MiBR, they are in that comeback territory. Save, I mean, I would go ahead and say they have a better chance here, considering the fact that Cello and Exit, and even Bolts, their money is built up so much that they have no trouble buying up the guns anymore. Young Ninjas, if they lose one round, their economy's all over. You can see that ZTR wants to get that initial frag, but Cello won't allow it.
Absolutely not. Ground gain towards mid now from the MiBR side, but Sapik looks to challenge it as well. Nilo, ooh, the molly. Dangerous waters. It's as if you're on a tiny little rock and you see shark fins everywhere. And Sapik is in that situation currently, but he's got a crossbow at his hand. He's able to shoot these sharks down one by one. Still an equal footing when it comes to numbers in this round, as time is becoming more and more of essence. It does seem that the Brazilians are looking for this mid control again. Nilo is out in the open. He needs to trade this out, otherwise it's a highway to hell. Nilo does deliver, looking to move away, but Yell is there to capitalize on that. Rolf quickly on his feet, but Fizzy, he knows he'll be shortly challenged. Bomb now recollected. Exit. Let's see what he's able to do in this situation, because Rolf hiding out within the smoke. Will he push through it? He does, and he's able to get one. Goes to the spray down onto the second one. Yell is eliminated, and now it's down to Bolts in a 1v3. Young Ninjas turning the tide just like that. Peeking through smokes is exactly what they're required to do. And as you mentioned, Wild, no time remaining, and this will give Young Ninjas the lead for yet another time.
What a play from Rolf to swing out around the smoke. A little bit of oversight from MiBR goes a long way for Young Ninjas. They've got the money back. They've got the weapons saved. They've picked up the double AKs, and this is MiBR starting to feel the pressure. They've got money for days, though, so it's still not over just yet. The chance at the equalizer will always be within arm's reach for MiBR, but they've got to do it before Young Ninjas hit that sweet 16. Yell, already taking a fair bit of damage. The MiBR setup does signify that they have Bolts playing as the lurker. Make sure that most of the attention from the CT side stays there, so that the over rotations can't quite come in. SIGC feeling a fair bit of luck after the shot he showed us earlier, and he's still willing to challenge it, but I don't think it's going to go his way a second time in a row.
Bolts needs to be careful here. Ooh, through the smoke. Good X-ray toggle. Oh, it phased just in time to favor ZTR. And that is going to be the advantage for the Young Ninjas. And MiBR, they only had one player towards that ramp side. The rest sort of challenging this mid control again. So I wonder where they want to move towards now. Deep smoke onto connector, which does signify that it's basically the best smoke to hide what you want to go for. You can even go for a contact play towards connector or even push out short, but they go for both ends of that stick. Exit, he's got the bomb in a really difficult position, but Sapik makes his presence known now towards window. He's here, eliminated, but ZTR now shows his presence, gets one in the process, but quickly shut down. MiBR, that numbers deficit. Nilo being present. Oh! Oh, being present onto the side gets 2 kills in the process. Young Ninjas, they're in a prime position to close this map out.
Pavlos, I want to point out, I love how teams are so conscious about that smoke now. The way teams will actively even dedicate 2 players to sit inside the smoke because they know they'll have the visual advantage when it comes to it fading. They made it work. They had the entry frag. And their 1 point of contest in the form of bolts to be able to pincer in on connector, it was immediately eliminated. But I want to see how MiBR go out with a bang. Coming up underpass now, it seems like they've already gotten control of a fair bit of positions around the map. They've got underpass, they have top mid, and Cello's already eliminated 1 player, so this is getting risky for Young Ninjas as the bomb starts making its way towards B apartments, and so do the rest of MiBR's players.
Yeah, this is where the young Swedes need to calm their nerves and try close things out in an orderly fashion, but it looks like MiBR, with a more experience under their belts, will try and close things out themselves. You need to have resilience as a player to close maps like these out. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw overtime, really, because Young Ninjas, they're not in a really wealthy spot, are they? They desperately need to save these weapons if they want to have a chance that next round.
I mean, you say resilience. It kind of rhymes with Brazilians, so I mean...
Nice wordplay. I like that. I like that. Brazilians. I'm sure all the Brazilians out there really appreciate that as well. That is good.
I hope somebody hasn't already come up with that. They probably
I wouldn't be surprised if they had.
Probably. This is MiBR's last chance to take it to overtime. For NIP, this is the option to close it out in 2 maps. Will MiBR allow it though? By the looks of the buy, probably not.
Definitely getting into a tough spot here. A lot rested onto these young Swedish roster. They have a chance to close things out. Damage inflicted from the start, but not the finishing blow. But it looks like they want to challenge ramp again. Bolts hiding out from this angle. MiBR might want to go for an A split. They also got the vacation technique towards the B side, but it looks like Bolts wins it straight twice. ZTR and Nilo, there is nothing they could have done about that. And it's really difficult to see Young Ninjas coming together to win this. They made a gamble to move towards the A site, but it's the wrong decision. Because look at the Brazilians being pulled across here. MiBR moving towards the B site now, and it's a barren site for them to take over. Wow. Who would have expected for us? I think we'll be seeing overtime here because the odds of Young Ninjas winning out this round have dwindled down to near nothing.
And with Bolts already anticipating somebody coming in from B apartments, it's not like Sopik has much of a chance here either. Bolts, he's done incredible work in this round. He has pulled on ahead, potentially saved MiBR from having to go to, well, yeah, it's all over.
It is. I appreciate Sapik trying to look for it, but it was a lazy peek. It was deep into that corner. And overtime, ladies and gents, what a way to start the day for us. What a day. First map, first overtime, and it really could be anyone's game. MiBR slightly favourite when it comes to the odds, but I still think it's anyone's game.
Pavlos, honestly, if you open up HLTV, you see, team ranked 53 versus 54. Yeah, this is overtime. No, but
yeah, this is about to be close. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's often not very reflective of the skill level of teams in the tier 2 and tier 3 scene anyway. So I mean, I don't give it too much credit, but regardless, I mean, if there's something to go off of, MiBR and NIP, they are looking very neck and neck. This is This wasn't going to be a fast game by any means, but if you want to make your payments fast with no hassles of having an app or registration and downloads, etc., maybe go ahead and check out our partners over at Trustly. They can make your payments very, very speedy, unlike this game, like I mentioned. But if you are going to go ahead and check out Trustly, maybe you can also check out Pinnacle in the process, where you can go to pinnacle.com/odds and use the code CUP21 to sign up to get 10 euros back on a 10 euro bet. So you do have to use that code. You can make a deposit with Trustly, but remember, only bet what you can afford to lose, and that betting should be fun. Terms and conditions apply, so do go ahead and check them out as well.
Talking about fun, I think Young Ninjas, you can't really call this fun for them, right? They had 2 rounds where they could have closed the game out. We talked about it. You need to show that you can collect your nerves when it comes to closing maps like that. Being on a 15-13 scoreline, MiBR was never going to give them that chance, right? They were never going to allow them to freely take that victory, especially considering it is MiBR's map pick. And if it was Young Ninjas to close things out, they'd be on a highway to closing the entire series in their favor. So, Young Ninjas, that is sort of why you know that these guys are still new to the game, right? Not new to the game, but new to the scene.
Yeah, new to the game. Just downloaded, and they're going head-to-head against MiBR.
They've got like 10 thousands of hours on the game, but they're new to it. It's
yeah,
Counter-Strike,
just accumulate 10,000 hours in a couple of weeks.
Oh, man. No, but you know what I mean, right? It's definitely due to the fact that them not having the experience to be able to be calm in the situations that they've lost quite a few of rounds that shouldn't have gone so easily in MiBR's favor. And this is where they're tested as a squad, right? This is where they're tested as individuals as well. If they can be collective, if they can be resilient when it comes to their nerves, it definitely shows they deserve to be in the tops of Tier 2.
But heading on over to overtime, you know that it's going to be significantly in the favor of Young Ninjas to start things off, because they can buy up entirely. They have the one leash that is always on the CT side, the one that's around their neck. It's been removed. And Sopik, he'll be removing exit from the server to thank the economy gods for it.
Smoke fading out for Yell as well in the process, but ZTI's got his attention turned towards it. Young Ninjas, looks like they want to come out swinging. But MiBR, talking about swinging, can they swing this back in their favor? Bolt's not going to allow that to happen yet. Yell as well. Okay, maybe they can. MiBR back in it again. Okay. Yell, how are you doing this? I'm not even sure. Cello, he chimes in for another in a matter of 10 seconds. Young Ninjas are being completely dismantled, and Fizzy, he can only look from outside and just say, okay, I think this is over, but I'm going to give it my best bet. I'm going to give it my best go.
Unfortunately, I don't think his best is going to be enough to take this one out. At least he's gotten a kill to show for it, but the chances of a 1v3 are dwindling as the time goes on. I think at this point he just wants to make his... Okay. I love how SZ didn't even go for the pixel play where you anticipate the head to be if you get on top of the first box. No, he gets on top of the entire box. So I love it. And you can see the series prediction tracker there. There's been a lot of ups and downs in this instance, and you can see exactly why, Pavlos.
Absolutely. It's been a back and forth, right? Considering this is MiBR's map pick, and overall in the series at the start, they were slightly favored. Well, there were moments where NIP were looking to close out the game, but that doesn't look to be the case anymore, at least in the current situation where MiBR now have the advantage when it comes to round leads.
Mm-hmm. MiBR, their T side has looked so dominant after they went for the mini comeback from 13 to 10. I think this might be the first time they've actually come out ahead. Not in the entire game. I mean, after that little comeback scenario, but let's see where the bomb is moving. Heading on over to A. Unfortunately for the Young Ninja side, they've already cheated a rotation over, and that will not be the right read. The cavalry lining up in Palace to... Well, actually, all three in Palace. This is going to come as a bit of a surprise to Young Ninjas, because normally you'd expect a bit of a commitment on ramp as well.
Now ZTR moves out of that angle, but the Palace push from MiBR is imminent. Are they expecting this? Nilo taking out ramp. There is going to be contention from there. Flash out, perfectly timed. Nilo peeks out again, but Cello pre-fires that angle. Exit as well. This is looking well strong from MiBR, and I think the Brazilians are mad. How dare you take us to overtime on our own map peak? I think they've had enough. They want to close things out, and Young Ninjas, they're left from the outside, looking in with 3 players remaining, which means they're at a numbers deficit.
The couple of frags from Fizzy, of course, does allow them to go back in, and because economy is not a concern, this should work out for them. But Yell, even with the disadvantage of standing outside the smoke, he still manages to neutralize Apic. Rolf with 1 exit has been taken out. The bomb, of course, yet to be planted. Rolf, you can see him, buddy. It's not even being planted behind the box. That's the big mess up. And now they've got to get it down to a 2v1. Fizzy being able to pick up 8Z. That leaves Yell in a 1 versus 2. Has to find 2 angles. 1 against the AWP, 1 against the M4, but at least he's isolated the duel. Peeking out from CT, and he knows exactly what's up. The Molly knocks him out of position, but so does Fizzy.
Fizzy's a mastermind at work. Originally, he was at Ticket Booth. He rotated all the way towards B apartments to get himself onto shore. Not B apartments, towards B to get himself onto shore. Made his presence there by getting a kill. Repositions again towards jungle to get the alternative angle on the last player. Man, he also was able to get 2 kills in the process to put them in the game, which means he came away that round with 4 kills, putting Young Ninjas back on the radar when it comes to this map win.
I'm not sure how Fizzy was able to make his way back into that at all. I know that you broke it down, that he was repositioning and whatnot, but you know what? I feel like I'm looking behind the curtain for this magician. And I don't feel too comfortable here, but Cello. He's already gotten onto the ace site. Things are starting to look up for Young Ninjas, but MiBR want to stop this right in their tracks. The bomb soon to be recovered. Cello's so low on HP. He has been one of the prime fraggers for the MiBR side, so it would be a shame if he was taken out of the server early on. Oh no, oh no. Pavlos, what was that? Yell, he shouldn't have gotten those kills at all.
Absolutely not. And now MiBR may have the advantage. Fizzy! He jumps in into death! Oh dear, you know they got desperate after that. You know he wanted to bring out something different, something mad, something unexpected, but it's never going to challenge MiBR with the numbers of advantage they've been able to accumulate so far. Ooh, Rolf even had a chance. He heard the commotion from nowhere, but exit peeks through. MiBR 17-6 favored at halftime of the first overtime.
I'm not sure how Yell wins all 3 of those duels. It was nearly perfectly played by Young Ninjas, but somehow they ended up missing out on all of their shots, all 3 players. And we can see that in the replay. Yell, that spray down, tagging one with a headshot through the wall, it just ends up working out in his favor. And that little play of desperation, yeah, you pointed it out, Pavlos. Nothing more I can say about that, because the P250 being pulled out by the AWP player, jumping into underpass, come on.
Yeah, well, he knew his opponent was there because he just got a kill. Yeah, no. Not exactly what you love to see from that side, but now the tables have turned. MiBR, is this where they find the advantage? Because they struggled mostly on the CT side, right? It was an 8-7 half favoring the Young Ninjas, but now they're the ones ahead, which could mean the end of this first map. It coming their way. First trades coming out. Fizzy successful in finding a kill, which puts them at a leveraging place. ZTR as well on the backline, waiting for the rotations to come in, but will they come in time? Oh dear! Cello kills off his own teammate. I have no idea how that happened, but that shouldn't happen at this stage. Now ZTR gives away the ODQ in this. SHC will be able to capitalize on that. Bomb has gone down, but it's a 2v2 endeavor as it's anyone's game at this point.
Cello, he might have just cemented Young Ninjas' round. They didn't even have to do anything to find that kill. The information of ZTR just bamboozled him, but they still have a chance. There's still a chance at redemption, and the 2v2 will continue. The bomb ticked halfway down. Fizzy bringing the numbers to half as well. 8Z has prepped past Fizzy. He still gets the angle, and that 90-degree turn will work out in his favor. Pavlos, before I hand it off to you, I need to point out that this whole time, ZTR, just being present there, made sure that Cello would be confused about the duel, and that's why he looked all the way around, and he went for a pot shot where there was nobody there.
I mean, I'm sure he didn't want the confusion. I'm sure that wasn't his aim. I think he just wanted to delay the rotations, really. But he'll take it. He'll take it. That's a freebie. And Young Ninjas are back in it.
Oh man, this is, I've officially seen it all.
maybe you have, Wild, but this game hasn't shown that it hasn't shown any signs of slowing down just yet. No team making substantial gains over their opponents, and with Young Ninja's recapitalization of their opponents' mistake, means that they can sort of pull things through. Maybe gain the lead here. They've been given a lot of space. MiBR really respecting them in that regard, but SHC instead moves towards Palace and does get shut down. In the process, ZTR trying to be a menace in the backline does get shut down, but they need the smoke dedicated towards Thicket Booth to shut down the potential of Cello and Exit. But no, not to avail. It's a kill going to Cello's way, which puts MiBR now in the driver's seat when it comes to this round. Young Ninjas struggling to find the space onto the site, using their final pieces of utility to get them across. But MiBR quickly on their feet. You've also got Yell looking from short. As soon as that smoke dissipates, they'll be in a world of hurt. Flash out again, Nilo. He needs to be quick. Smoke being thrown out again, so the impact from Yell has completely been diminished. Now, 3 players from that Ticket Booth angle, which give Young Ninjas a chance. Yell pushes through from from Ladder Room, and he's able to deliver. Only Rolf gets a kill on that process, and it's MiBR now back in the lead on map point.
I love how Yell went for the most elaborate play that he could to pick out the player in jungle. Instead of rushing straight into Nest, no, he goes around Ladder Room, uses an AWP, and hard scopes all the way in. Just to pick out that one player, and that made sure that the duel would be very difficult to take care of. MiBR now on the verge of making NIP extinct on Mirage. They still do have a fighting chance. The signs of promise they showed in the first round, if Young Ninjas can bring that back, perhaps it's an opportunity for them to go on over to double overtime. Oh, I love this. They're going for the boost for an unorthodox angle. This is not something that anybody checks. And as ZTR moves around the smoke, he's spotted him. Cello, that's too much info being given up. The boost and the player in connector. Now they know that there's 1-1 on B and A.
Oh, the bumping heads. Oh, but it's in that corner. ZTR, are you kidding me? Gets 2 kills, maybe the third. That could salvage Young Ninjas, but it's still 3v3 endeavors. Bolt says SHC has another say to the matter. Bolt holding down the line towards lower, and that could be MiBR back in the driver's seat, back to gate that win in their belts. But now Young Ninjas getting the bomb planted. Molly come out on connector. Nade coming through as well from Rolf. Young Ninjas holding through with skin. Barely. But it's still 2 versus 2. That will decide if we're heading into another overtime in Mirage here. MiBR have got a potential to close things out, but it's not being handed to them in the silver platter. They need to work for it. Smoke thrown out, Bolts repositioning, checking if ramp is being contested, realizes that no one is there. Nilo buys that time and gets the finishing blow. Bolts needs to touch the bomb. He's going to stick it, isn't he? He is. And Rolf pushes through, but Bolts is too quick! Does he have the time, though?
Oh no.
No!
Young Ninjas, they've brought it to double overtime, ladies and gentlemen, because somehow they found signs of life. Single-handedly, ZTR was able to open up connector. Everybody, you can see that being reflected in the scoreboard. Everybody's chiming in on that NIP squad. And Fizzy, where once he was trailing far behind the rest of the team, he has recovered, and you can see his presence being reflected on the scoreline. 18-18, this is as close as of a game as you could imagine so far.
Man, what was that round? Back and forth, all over the place. But man, Young Ninjas, they hang on. But I'm sure they want something greater than that. The potential of getting that 2-0 under wraps. Or else they might have used too much of their energy in trying to close this game in their favor, and then might not have much left for Inferno.
Yeah, let's see if this duel works out in the favor of MiBR, though. SHC and Cello, they have to hold down the line. The AWP comes to life, so does the M4, but now the flashes are beginning to overwhelm. Nade being chucked. Will Cello be checked out here? The T's, they might have made it onto the A side, but it's not in one piece. Nilo and Fizzy, they're desperately trying to fight back. Fizzy wants to equalize the numbers and then some. Peeks out into CT, has spotted the elbow. The wide peek from the farther angle. Bolts will come out on top. It leaves Nilo in a 1v3, and it's going to be a hard one at that. He spotted the head of Exit, and he wants to isolate this duel before two players start to come in from CT. Wide peek, but Exit, he's anticipating it, and it's all the round for MiBR.
And that's a comfortable round from MiBR as well. That's them regaining the lead now, just like they did on the other overtime. Though it's just a matter of how young ninjas sort of come back from this, right? They can pull through, calm and collected faces, really focused. But for how long can you really stay focused when the games go to double, triple overtime and such? At some point, someone will make a mistake. It's bound to happen. Everyone is human. And young ninjas hope that they're not the ones to do those mistakes.
SIC, he has a chance to take out Fizzy early on, but Fizzy's too quick on the trigger. The nade will end up costing MiBR the initial pick. And young ninjas, they want to keep this a back and forth affair as they start to sprawl on over to mid. Fizzy doesn't want to challenge it any longer. He wants to bait out rotations, make it a little bit more unfavorable. But Sopik, he's telegraphed it. Cello, playing the close angle, picks up the kill with the AWP, and he even has a second opportunity as Nilo has given up his cards.
Yeah, holds his ground. Young ninjas. Oh man, I feel they're really pressured currently. The A site is being given to them pretty much. Can't really tell for it with the numbers. Yell spots one out of Palace. Do they know that Rolf is this close? Challenging Cello, no. Bullet stroke through Fizzy's heart. And it might as well be the heart of young ninjas because being in a 2-round deficit, 2 rounds into the second overtime, that's not where you want to be considering you were on map point of prior to the overtime being pulled out. Cello, again, 3 kills to the man's name. He's looking strong. ZTR needs something more than a miracle to pull things in his favor. 27 seconds remaining. Whoa, what a swing. What a repositioning. 3 kills! What? ZTR, I said you needed something more than a miracle, and you just did that.
You mentioned Miracle, and a shooting star just went by. I want to see that on the replay. How quick was that? Lightning fast on the lineups, and Cello's low HP. Although he was able to pick up frags with the AWP when that was the one thing holding him down. Ultimately, that's what comes back to bite him. And young ninjas, they hold on, with ZTR being the strongest of the chain.
And now young ninjas onto the B site. They're going to go for a fast push here. Oh, they've managed to find the equalizer. Can they find the closer? Nilo quickly on his feet. 2 kills going to his way. Name Bolts not pressured yet. He's still holding his ground, and SSC has found his way onto the site as well. Rolf finally shutting him down. So much damage being delivered onto ZTR, but the nade might be the finishing blow. Yes, it is. Pushing into the site, though. Does SSC anticipate that angle? No. Rolf is able to take advantage of that prospect, and now yells all by himself for that 1v2, but Rolf is holding down the right angle. And young ninjas, they're the ones ahead at halftime of the second OT. Faraz, I am mind blown how young ninjas are able to bring things back. I think ZTR's clutch have brought their morale back up.
Yo, what is this game so far? Because ZTR is fighting tooth and nail to keep them in this game. And the funny thing is, it's not even just one player fragging out crazily. It's everybody, not just on NIP, on MiBR as well. Both teams, they are fighting tooth and nail to keep themselves in the series. And this is just the start of the day. This is the first game. Oh man, Pavlos. If this game gets any closer, I'm gonna need you to hold me because I can hardly contain myself here. This is
patience, child. Lan is incoming, but I'll hold you then. But who's gonna hold MiBR after a loss here, right? Obviously, 2 more rounds required for young ninjas to close things out, and MiBR have got a good chance to put things to a close themselves. But I think Young Ninjas now, there's determination being squared up on their faces. Something marvelous about how this map has unfolded. Nilo waiting for it, Yell. Oh dear, that's going to be a freebie. And now it's the advantage coming through from the Young Ninjas side. They're aware of the take. There's one more in Palace. They know of this smoke being given to Nilo. Not exactly if that's what he wanted from that smoke, but it at least gives him space to move onto the site. Gets one as he swings back to safety. And ZTR, he's there to deliver as well. It's simple pickings coming through from Young Ninjas. One by one, closing players out. And they may be finding themselves currently on map points for yet another time. They change the tide. Exit, can you bring one? ZTR brought one moments earlier, but no, Sapik does swing out, get the killer in his favor. And Young Ninjas, they are one round away of taking home their opponent's map pick.
Pavlos, I want to point out that smoke there from Nilo. I'm not entirely sure if it was intentional, as you mentioned. Perhaps it was aimed for Palace as well. But the way it landed, it might have just been because after you see the player in ramp, after you find that frag, you know that the potential of a connector pincer coming in is possible, and that's why you can secure yourself from ramp by having that smoke, and it allows you a bit more free mobility going into things. But look at this, Fizzy pre-fires it, Yell being tagged up through the wall, 4 HP before he even gets to see a player. And MiBR, their push might have just been stopped in its tracks. The early 3-man commitment on the B-bomb side ends up working out perfectly for Young Ninjas. Don't even need to have the right read for Fizzy to be causing a ruckus. At least the CT side don't have any more nades that they can chuck down Yell's throat.
Yeah, at least that's a positive. And I hope MiBR see it that way because Sapik, look at the movement. No one's looking at that corner except apart from Exit, but now he's not. Ooh, what does he go for here? Young Ninjas, they've got the advantage in health matters, at least this round. 1 round away from closing this map out. Man, that's a lot of pressure to put on these guys' shoulders. Can MiBR retaliate? Spray down, Sapik delivers, headshot onto Cello, and now they've got the numbers as well. ZTR chimes in, it's the molly to close his life though, as he repositions Rolf. Now onto the B site, he'll be challenged. He's got the reinforcements of Fizzy, but Exit will be there from short. Kills going out, and Fizzy doesn't quite find the closer. Incendiary to be thrown as the bomb goes down, but I think it's already too late. Made onto Sapik. The tide of this round has completely turned 180 degrees. Yeah, holding his ground together with Bolt. It's a very similar angle. It's a good crossfire. And while Exit wins out on his trades, Young Ninjas, there's nothing they can do. MiBR, they're still in this. 1 round from a triple OT.
I'm not sure why the player in Apartments was punished in that instance, because when you know that Fizzy is watching the cross, there's absolutely no reason to peek out. The information will be conveyed before you have to get knocked out of position, but that's exactly the kind of mistake that MiBR are happy to capitalize on. Just 1 round away from that sweet victory, but also 1 round away from the potential of triple overtime, Pavlos. And it seems like all of MiBR's resources, they're heading on over to B, sneaking past the Molotov.
Oh dear.
Yell wants to cause a dent before Rolf can do anything about it. He's almost overwhelmed, but he's going to hold on to dear life, using the smoke for mobility, but he'll be caught out eventually. Young Ninjas, they're feeling the pressure because Cello, he's added 1 more to the tally. The blind sprays through the smoke don't work out in their favor, and it's all over for Young Ninjas.
It's not over till it's over for us. And I think Young Ninjas will desperately try and find their way into the site. Incendiary, that could block 2 players out, and 1 is very low, but it's in the wrong corner of that side. Bolts takes a big chunk out of it. But Nilo, ooh, he gets chunked down. Nilo puts 1 bullet through Cello. It is a perfect weapon, but they need to line up for him, and I don't think MiBR will do him this favor. They're all going to hide out. Bolt swings out. Headshot connected. Triple OT underway. This game is going the distance.
I think just going the distance, even that is an understatement, because I think it's beyond that. It has reached its destination, and now it wants to go for a second trip. 21-21. How about it? 42 rounds, enough to potentially end 2 games. Sapik has made 21 headshots this game. 21 out of 29. Powered by
Wow.
Trustly. Which, of course, Pavlos is quickly going to give you a recap about.
Oh, definitely, man. Trustly is definitely the place when it comes to online payments where you can quickly and swiftly transfer your money from account to account, where no cards, no app download, no registration is really required. You can also make your payments onto pinnacle.com /odds on Trustly, where you'll find the latest in-play offerings for current matchup as well. Remember though, betting always needs to be done in safe environments, so only bet what you can afford, and make sure that you only bet what you can afford. But you can tell that MiBR, they're under pressure. They're keeping their nerves to a calm point, really. Getting too excited isn't a position they can afford to be in, because let's face it, none of these teams seem favored right now. Both of them have been at a point where they could close this map out on map point, maybe for 1 or 2 rounds. NIP, I believe, in total, they were at that point for 4 rounds in total. But every single time, the opponents are able to bounce back. I've said this time and time again. I will say it once more. It's a matter of resilience. And these two teams are putting each of their... Well, they're putting their opponents to the test, really, when it comes to that.
Triple overtime, Pavlos. How about it? And I like how calm the young ninjas are at the moment. I think the hamsters in their heads are starting to get a bit ahead of themselves, start to spin the wheel at 110%. Young ninjas now starting off on the CT side. They've gotten themselves back the advantage. Of course, they can run away with it now if they'd like to, but they're going to have to go up against the powerhouse T side that is MiBR, which is already making its way over to the A-bomb site.
Ooh, swiftly actually getting themselves on site. The smokes work wonders, although there's a gap through it that young ninjas have thrown their own smoke to tell for it. Yell sneaking himself into the back line. He's able to retaliate. We'll get a kill onto Rolf as well. ZTR on top of stairs here. Doesn't quite catch Yell off guard. MiBR actually get 2 kills without anything going to their opponent's side, which could really give them access to the site, get that bomb down, and especially not dropping a single player is exactly where they want to be.
I'm not sure what young ninjas are able to do, should be doing in this instance. I mean, there's nothing they can get off of this round. But of course, Optic still wants to go for it. That sweet $16,000. At least that affords them the opportunity to go for things like this. Fizzy. I mean, he is good for 2 exit frags, but MiBR, they're off to a stellar start. And this is something that's been consistent for MiBR. The fact that they are a powerhouse when it comes to playing those terrorist sides. Young ninjas, they often do not have an answer for it at all. And oh no, I think one of the players has dropped from the server once more, and we should be seeing a technical timeout, I believe.
Ooh, oh dear. We've been filled with technical timeouts this game. Oh no. I believe it's Yell that's having some issues with his computer currently, and that is the reason of this technical timeout. I believe the timeouts before were for different reasons, but Yell, I think he's definitely having some issues. Actually, this time around, might be someone else, but it's definitely from the side of MiBR. They do win, at least. They do get that victory on the board. 22-21. This series started 1.5 hours ago and it's still going. And no team looks to be easing up ahead. I love the smiles coming out from MiBR, though. It shows that they're in it. It shows that they're not out of it when it comes to morale. It's a combination of smirks, confidence,
Focus.
and smiles, and focus. Absolutely. Well, on the Young Ninja side, once we saw their cams earlier, I thought I saw some worrying emotions. With MiBR now having the lead. Is this it? Is this the overtime for us? Is third time the charm?
Pavlos. A leprechaun just walked into my room. Not with a pot of gold, but with a little box with a fortune cookie in it.
Ooh.
And naturally, I took it out. I cracked open the fortune cookie, and it says that the fourth overtime is right in front of you. Not the love of your life. The fourth overtime.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
so you're predicting a fourth overtime at this point. So I'm guessing that's not going to be the case because you're always wrong when it comes to predictions.
Yeah, longtime fans of the X-Deity duo know that this is my way of ending the game earlier.
Wow. Okay, well, we're going to have to wait and see. But you haven't called who will be the victor. It's still anyone's game. Being one round ahead at overtime is not the end for Young Ninjas.
Yeah, a few mistakes being made here or there doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have a chance at redemption. Early Molotov from ZTR, Young Ninjas, they want to play this aggressive, and that's exactly the kind of reaction I wanted to see from them. A couple times their aggression didn't pay off, but more often than not, you see Young Ninjas come out on top when they go for these sorts of plays. Nilo, his timing on the on-peak will have to be perfect if Jello decides to peek out, but that's not the case. He wants to play it chill, just scope out jungle and stairs. Most of the Young Ninjas' attention being on A. That's not where MiBR are going just yet. A flashbang to make sure that the rotations won't come in through. Sopik, he finds his trade on Yell. The individual duels already starting to go the way of Young Ninjas.
So this could be the bounce back. Nilo, yeah, he puts a stamp on it as well. Bound to ship it out. Oh, ouch.
Oh, no.
Oh, no! Oh, no!
It's Brad because of one
happen.
tick.
Not in overtime. Oh, that could really give Young Ninjas the advantage here. They're at Z. He's had enough. He wants to push on towards the site. But do they expect Sapik still in the barments? I don't think they do know about this. They're still looking at it. They're still going to check it. But the spray down is simple from Sapik. The rejoicement of his teammates on that regard. They have already joined the party. An exit. Although he may have the bomb, he doesn't have much more other than that in his favor. One other kill goes his way. Flash at hand, but he doesn't quite have the space to get the bomb planted. Player from short, two from market, being approached. Headshot connects, but that's not going to be good enough. It looks close, but no, Young Ninjas, they find the equalizer.
Got a bit dicey there at the end, but unfortunately Exit isn't able to come out on top. It would be nice to see a 1v4. But man, the resilience of both of the teams, not just the Brazilians as we mentioned before, the fortitude that they have to hold on to this game up until overtime number 3, it is crazy. But what else is crazy is Fizzy's ability to get kills on his own, and ZTR, he'll just add one more to the tally. The aforementioned fortune cookie, and I don't think it's going to come to light if Young Ninjas keep playing like this. You might even be able to close it out a lot earlier. And the good thing about for the Ninjas being able to close out or rather close out their CT side would be that MiBR have found most of their success when they are on the offense. Their T side, it looks so good. The explosiveness of the Brazilians jumping onto a bomb site within the last few seconds is something that Young Ninjas haven't been able to fully thwart. But if they can come out on top, oh boy. But watch this, Pavlos.
Smokes out, coming out from the MiBR side, but losing 2 players isn't where they want to be. Young Ninjas want to be ahead again at halftime, as they were previously, only dropping that first round of the third OT. Nilo putting his dent onto the lineup of MiBR, but Exit wants something else to say about this affair. Fizzy from afar is still pressuring onto the attack of MiBR. Bomb not quite gaining the space to plant just yet. It's not going to be a safe endeavor. A Sapik swings, crouched down. Bolts will put his mark onto Fizzy with that molly drawn out. Jumps up, or do they expect it? ZTR does. Young Ninjas, for the second time in a row, are ahead at the halftime of an OT.
I think both teams have shown more promise on their terrorist side. We saw that in regulation, and we've seen that in overtime. But this is where they have to keep putting on the numbers. Young Ninjas, they've eased some of the pressure. They've taken the edge off, but up against MiBR, you can't get too comfortable in your shoes ever.
Definitely can't.
The setup here from Young Ninjas. This time they're going for a lot more mid control, but this is still not akin to how MiBR do it, where they have one lurk player. No, they have the pincer with 2 players, one in Palace, one in ramp. And they've left the bomb all the way back, which means that they're going to have to wait before they can actually hop onto a bomb site. But that's the least of their concerns, as Fizzy has carved themselves out a niche that they can walk right into. Exit playing from ladder room. Does he get checked out? The timing doesn't favor him, but ZTR, he's been spotted.
He has been, and he's been shot down as well. The numbers have been equalized, and Young Ninjas, they're scrambling to find an entry. Moving now towards the A site, looking to move across. And MiBR, they've set up, spread out across the map. They don't quite have the read. Although as the smoke will slowly dissipate, Yell, I think he's got the good lineup. Actually moves towards triple box. Shoots his bullets. As if to sign that he's noticed his opponents, but I don't think he has. Bolts will peek through. The Palace position is in deep, therefore not spotted either. Yell, how much information does he have? Flashes thrown, but does MiBR thinks it's a fake? They're still sticking with their players on the other side of the map. Although Exit looks to plan his movement towards jungle. Mollied out, he won't have that presence just yet. Has to move away. Rolf gets himself back into that angle, but they do get the bomb down nonetheless. 4 versus 4 Young Ninjas. They've done half of the amount they've had to so far. Sapik puts a bullet straight through Bolt's half. Rolf does the same with Exit's skull. 4v2, and they found every single kill required to close things out. Yell is all by himself and he needs a miracle. It's ZTR like miracle, but he won't be finding it. Young Ninjas, they got themselves a 24th, and they're on the verge of closing this map out for yet another time.
Pavlos, I'm going to have a quick word with the Leprechaun about whether or not that fortune cookie was expired, because Young Ninjas, they seem to be pulling ahead. With this kind of form and fortitude, I would be very surprised if MiBR can somehow hit 2 rounds in a row on their CT side. Fizzy wants to get that first frag.
SHC is able to shut him down as Fizzy was too eager to get himself an opening kill, and that won't favor Young Ninjas. Oh man, it's deja vu all over again. Young Ninjas being 2 rounds ahead, on the verge of closing their opponents' map, where MiBR get the first kill. Could things unfold back into the favor of the Brazilians? Have they shown Brazilians yet another time? Look at the movement coming in from Young Ninjas slowly towards that rump side, but MiBR still anticipating the push. SHC in a really off angle here from Rolf. I'm not quite sure if it gets checked. Smoke will give him space, but he sticks into this corner instead of moving down to the dark. Smoke out for connector. I wonder if more will follow through. They actually don't have any smokes available, only flashes and mollies and nades No smokes available for them, and Cello puts a dent into their lineup, gets 2 kills at the same time. ZTR, he needs wonder here. Rolf delivers 2 versus 3, still within the realms of possibility considering the 30 seconds remaining. Yell from that lineup though will make it ever so difficult for them. Rolf, what does he do? Of course, the economy is not something he needs to worry about. He needs to try and go for something wondrous, but that will not come across. MiBR, they keep themselves within reach.
The prospect of a 4th overtime is becoming more and more a reality. MiBR. Do they have the longevity, the sustainability to keep pushing on forward, bring it to 24 and 24? We're on the verge of seeing almost 50 rounds in this game. That's definitely good enough for 2 games. And Exit, he tries to make it a bit easier by shutting down ZTR. He's down to 17 points of health, but most of the attention from Young Ninjas is on B. At least the rotations have started to come in, but the flashes will be hard to take care of. Bolts in that boost position doesn't get a chance at all to fight back. They'll be sprawling straight onto the bomb site. The lineup starts to work out for him, and he's not been caught out. Yell his AWP, quick to react. Bolts with a 3rd, and that leaves it all down to Fizzy. AWP in hand, he's caught out with utility. Nothing he can do, and the nade to follow through should be good enough. Even if it isn't, I think they've already secured the round, Pavlos.
Oh, they must have. There's no way Fizzy comes back from this. Oh dear. Again, 24 to 24. Imagine a 4th overtime on the first map of the day. Talk about delivering. The stay won't stop. Again, Young Ninjas fall under pressure, not able to close out their map. Well, their opponent's map, but the map that they had an advantage on.
This is an unusually long map, and it keeps on giving. And honestly, I love this because the action has been so incredible. Both teams showing signs of top contenders. What a messy, messy round from Young Ninjas. The lineup, the missed prey from Fizzy. Well, Pavlos. OT4. Overtime number 4. Not something that we thought it would come down to, because of course, even if you're neck and neck, it generally doesn't take you that long to finish off a game. But these teams have shown us that they're willing to take it back and forth as long as they'd like. The initial frag being missed out by Cello does allow Nilo to make a bit of a dent in the opposing AWP player, but now the bomb is moving over towards the B apartments. They didn't find too much success there before, but maybe they're looking to try it on a second time. A player in connector and one in underpass does mean that perhaps they can keep them at bay. Make sure that the rotations are stuck onto A, so they only have to find 2 aim duels as far as the B bomb site is concerned. And with plenty of utility, I think the Ninjas are starting to get ready for it.
Absolutely are. Bolts having to move out of position here. MiBR sticking to their guns on the A side though, challenged onto the apartment side. SHC getting 1 kill onto Sapik already. Rolf trying to make his way onto the side, but the flash is perfect. Bolt's able to shut him down, and now down to a 3 versus 5. Young Ninjas not quite able to get things under wraps here. And MiBR seem like they're delivering with the tempo they've created that previous OT. Bring it on to this one.
So good. From ZTR.
Ooh. Spicy. What's the potential of this for us?
Yeah, ZTR, I'm not even sure if he'll be allowed the opportunity. Exit, at least he's been taken out, but now the pincer is perfect. There should be so much information for Young Ninjas to work off of, but HSZ, he has thwarted them. Brings it down to a 2 versus 4. Nilo, he needs to worry about Palace, needs to watch out for the AWP player. They've got 2 moving in from stairs and jungle as well, so it all comes down to him being stuck in a bear trap. The flash, the ramp, it's too much for him to bear, and the bomb is already being defused. Of course there's going to be a kid, and there's nothing that Nilo can do about it. Just has to back off, and he even gets chased down by a nade for his troubles.
Oh man, 24-25 as MiBR do get the lead back in their favor. Double up setup, working wonders for them. Although we did like ZTR's push towards the A site, although there was a potential for him to perform in that endeavor, it didn't quite fall into place for the Young Ninjas, and MiBR are the ones in favor, in the lead currently. Oh, look at this.
This is a bit risky from Cello, and he's holding on to a deagle, not even his primary weapon, but he's looking to make it work. The close quarter duel favors him, goes for a pot shot with the no-scope, and he comes away with his life. How does he only take a scratch in that process?
How does he get away? No way. That's a free of a kill. But no, gets murdered from Nilo. So still, they're not gaining the lead at all. It may have been a gift of a kill early on, but what goes around comes around. And talking about coming around, Young Ninjas now heading towards the A site.
And MiBR, they have the setup for it. They've got SHZ, they've got Yell, but unfortunately, I think Yell will be smoked out. The rotations, they've been called in early on, and as long as SHZ can keep fighting MiBR, they've got the cars they need to bring it to fruition. The first kill going their way, Rolf ends up being taken out, but Fizzy makes the deal a little bit sweeter. Exit and Bolts, now they have to find a 2v3.
Was very surprised to see stuck in that corner instead of falling back to go for the full run rotation with his teammates instead. Now Young Ninjas find themselves with that advantage in numbers. Exit finds one. ZTR with a back line. It's all up to Exit. One kill to his name so far. He needs to make it a 3-piece with the defuse as well. But Young Ninjas, they're not giving him that. One from Connector, one coming out from Jungle. Bomb being touched, flashed out. Can't stick it. They know it. They can just play safe. ZTR does go for the swing eventually. Molly thrown out just in case, but no. The equalizer has been found. It's 25-25.
50 rounds. We're on round number 50. Pavlos, I think we're casting a best of 5.
It feels like it. Absolutely.
Oh man, well what a treat to watch these two teams go at it. The nerves must be crazy right now, because the longer the game goes on, the more it hurts if you end up losing it. But Yell, he's carved himself out a nice little angle around the smoke that perhaps he can find a player off of, but doesn't get a chance to really fire off a shot. 2 in B apartments, 3 on mid, Young Ninjas. They've managed to keep 1 round under wraps. Can they get ahead on the T side? Because that's something they've generally found the advantage on. Both teams struggling to close it out.
Who would have thought, starting this day, we'd be in a 4th overtime? Where things still not being decided.
Map 1 as well.
Map 1.
Not even the decider.
Map 1.
Oh, look at this. Young Ninjas, I think they might have just gotten it down under lock and key, because moving into B, there's nobody there. There's only 2 players, and they're playing it so passively that it'll be hard to hold down the line. Cello and Bolts, though, they're tag teaming up. The nade, the AWP, exit has come around. The reinforcements are good enough, and MiBR, they have come out ahead in a snap.
MiBR now in the lead. It's not over just yet. Young Ninjas, they had a good read, but Yell holding that lineup saw them first. Bolts was quick to reposition his crosshair, which is why they had a nice crossfire set up in the end of that round. MiBR back in it, 25-26. Well, now in favor of them. As Young Ninjas, they need 3 rounds in a row to close out this game. And seeing how these overtimes have come across, that doesn't seem like a very likely prospect.
I like how Young Ninjas are switching up their pace a little bit. They should be able to find a freebie here as a double peek ensues. Sopek, he's usually the man in charge when it comes to these aggressive plays on the CT side, and he'll do it once more. Trying to reclaim a bit of B apartments control. MiBR, they're setting a point man in there. Yell. Oh, this is information being reclaimed by MiBR, but the problem is Young Ninjas have found so much space. The A ramp, A palace, mid, everything is entirely open, nothing that the T side has control of. And all ZTR needs to do is hold down the line as soon as he spots the pixel. He spots them around the sliver, and this is where he just has to hold them off with utility.
What would he throw first? He'll go for the Pika first, and I think it might be too late. His Young Ninjas, they'll be challenged instantly. Smoke left out so he can hold down his ground. Oh, D is too wide, still gets burnt down, but Young Ninjas come out ahead in the trade. Sapix still alive somehow. Bullets flying left and right around them, but still managing to dance around him as if it's the Matrix. Fizzy, a little bit confused of that angle and wasn't quite able to shut it down, but the bomb hasn't gone down just yet, and Sapix has found himself into this corner. A very important one as well. Rolf, quick on the trigger when it comes to Bolt's endeavor. And now Cello is being shut down as well. Young Ninjas, they find the equalizer and is still in the game.
Sapic's position there was pivotal. The fact that he's just able to hold down the wire long enough and he's able to split the bomb side in two, one towards short, one half towards short, and one towards bench, it's good enough because that makes sure that the T's have to cross over and challenge Fizzy's op before they can get to Sapic, as they did not have utility to clear it out. That is a near perfect play being played by Sapic. He gets 3 off of it. Young Ninjas, they're not going for the aggression this time around. The Molotov, because it's been thrown out, now they know for sure that the players have a lot of attention on mid. A nade to follow through. Yell, he will eat it for dinner.
Not his ideal dinner, is it? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
How does MiBR approach this? Because right now they're spread out. Bolts towards Palace, the rest of them sort of challenging mid at the same time. Set of utility still in line. 2 smokes only available though, so they need to use them wisely.
Bit of a stalemate from both sides, as there isn't information for the T's or the CTs, but the pressure is on MiBR right now because they're the ones that have to find space over towards these bomb sites. The smoke on top connector allows them to huddle up together, but this is something that ZTR is anticipating. As it starts to fade, it's going to be chaos.
It might be. He's holding it out. SAC so close, looking for the shot, but it's successful from the T side. MiBR looking to come out on ahead, but Fizzy still alive and still reigning supreme with that AWP. Nilo comes out from sandwich, shows his position, but he's still able to run out with a kill. 2v2. Sapik has found his way onto the short side, but quickly shut down by Exit. It's all down to Fizzy with that AWP. Not the best weapon in a clutch position, but it's the best weapon for this man. Deagle brought out, looking for the shot, but no! Exit, he delivers one bullet straight through his opponent's eyes, and MiBR are now the ones in the lead.
Have lost.
One more round and it's over, isn't it, Wild?
A gust of wind just went by me and it whispered, OT5.
Well, you've got leprechauns, you've got winds. What is going on with you for us?
Yeah, I'm just not casting from my home setup.
You're in the land of magical creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Is it by any chance called the land of magical overtimes? Because this seems to be the case in this game.
Yeah, no,
Definitely
overtimes are just a byproduct of this magic, but let's see if MiBR can have the magic to close it out right away. Nilo wants to huddle around the smoke, but he's just started cuddling with one of the enemies. He's given up his position, but he gets one in the process, and Aziel is swinging out. He gets 2 in the process. 3 versus 4. The bomb has been interrupted. Sopik knows the lineup, and he follows it through with a nade. Fizzy gets punished in the process, and it's smoke kills for days. See, look at that spot, but Sopik has responded. It's still in contention. It's a 2 versus 2. Young Ninjas can still stay in it, and they've brought it to OT number 5, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not over. It definitely isn't. We're going to the 5th overtime of the first map. These guys, it's as if they've already played 2 maps back to back. It's as if we're playing 60 rounds at this point.
What is this?
54 rounds in. And no one is a decider. You can see ZTR making his calls. Quite talkative, which you like to see from a Young Ninja side. They need to stay focused. This is a long game. And any pro player is highly tested in these situations.
Oh dear, that... The thing is, you can't practice for this, can you? At some point, it gets dirty, it gets primitive. And that's what it's coming down to. Becoming very rough around the edges, this gameplay. Both teams making lots of mistakes, but luckily, just balanced enough to keep powering on through.
Slime Micropre actually coming out from the MiBR side. They threw a lot of utility early on from the ramp and palace areas, which did move ZTR from that connector position on back to the site, which gave room for MiBR to move out from under without being challenged. So that gives them clear access towards the mid side as well. They even are able to get themselves a victory shot onto the ZTR. Fizzy does chime in with his AWP, looking to save the game once more. This A site has been highly contested throughout OT. Can Nilo do the same from Dark? Well, he might be able to do so. Headshot connects, but it turns his back to throw a flash, and Bolt is able to capitalize. 3-on-3 still, it's anyone's game. Exit. This is a marvelous position. Baroff is just too darn quick. Still within it, Young Ninja's looking to find the advantage. The bomb hasn't been dropped yet, and Fizzy looking at the wrong direction. Cello able to shut him down. Bolt's eager to know where his opponents are, but Sapik, do they expect him coming in with a backstab? They do not. Spray down. It's a little bit messy, but ends up getting the kill nonetheless. Bolt all by himself. Gets the bomb down safely, and the molly will not touch him. Nade will, though. And Sapik gets the high ground to get the finishing blow. Young Ninjas not allowing their opponents to go anywhere. They're going to get the defuse, and they're going to get themselves a lead in the 5th overtime.
I'm starting to think, have I casted 5 overtimes before?
I think I have. But I think 5 is the max for me. I haven't gone over 5.
Pushing for 6, question mark?
Yeah, we might be breaking records today for us. We might be breaking records.
Oh, please, let's do this. Come on. At this point, we have to root for both teams just to make sure that they keep having the longevity to go into this.
Man, as long as it's good Counter-Strike, that's what matters for me. It looks like MiBR, they're going quickly onto the B site.
Oh no, Young Ninjas, they feel a bit overwhelmed. The Molotov comes out to keep them at bay. Rolf, he's been taken out, but the AK is still putting up numbers. Sapik anticipating Cello to come around. The wide peak has been intercepted. ZTR playing around the smoke. He wants to catch Cello off guard, and he does. It's MiBR being dismantled as ZTR will creep through. 29-27, and Young Ninjas, finally, they might be putting the lid on this.
That's decisive from Young Ninjas. That is decisive. Although MiBR, this is the sort of the only times in overtime we've seen them sort of go for a simple B rush, right? Either A. They usually do spread out, methodically get themselves on site, but they wanted to try something different. Well, fancy that. It didn't work out. And Young Ninjas will take advantage over it. Can they continue? Because they're basically 2 rounds away from closing this game out. 2 more rounds.
MiBR, they want to head on straight over to the B bomb side. They are doing things the old-fashioned way. The rush Bs have been called out, and they want to push straight through the flames. They're starting to doubt themselves.
Oh, Young Ninjas, look at all the players they've been able to bring onto the B site already. Look at ZTR.
Oh no, ZTR!
Hello! Goodbye! First shot coming out, made through as well. I said C, though, does push forwards and get a kill onto him. Still, Young Ninjas, they've got the numbers advantage, and they still have Nilo onto the A site, so they don't really care. Look at the movement from Sapik, though. Eager to get himself an aggression through, but Bolt swings out as if he's a madman, and he still finds the headshot.
MiBR, they might have equalized the numbers, but the ball is not out of Young Ninja's court just yet. But as the rotation is heading on over to the B side, as they're expecting a double fake down, it's not going to be the case. Nalo, though, oh, this is perfect from him because he's pushing into Palace. If he's left unchecked, this could all be over. He has all the information, but it might be too late.
No kill.
No kill there.
MiBR, they've changed the tide of the game. Young Ninjas, they had the advantage, but no, losing out on 2 of the trades. That is it gone. Young Ninjas, they shouldn't have gone that aggressive twice.
Oh,
and now
SHC?
they might pay for it. SHC! This is it. No, they have no idea. They have no idea. Absolutely. They need to go crazy, and Roth is all by himself. He won't check his backline. There's no way. And he doesn't find the kill in front of him either. MiBR, they get themselves a final round of that half. The Young Ninjas still ahead. Does that break them though for us? You know, when they always find themselves in the situation that where they can close things out, there's always a round like this that brings MiBR back into it.
I'm going to go ahead and say that NIP closed it out right here in overtime number 5. And the reason for that is that they've come out ahead time and time again on the CT side, but we know that their T side looks a little bit more solid. And it's not just that, it's the fact that MiBR, their CT side hasn't looked amazing. I feel like they struggle a little bit more on that, with the exception of Cello and Bulls just going absolutely nuts at times. Let's see if the longevity of this game can... You know what? This game has gone on so long that we're approaching the number of rounds that it would take for 2 maps to go to the maximum number of rounds possible. That would be 60 rounds if 2 games were 15 to 15. This is... We're already way past that best of 3 mark now, but let's see if they can get past HZC. Apparently not without a scratch.
Absolutely not. 1-for-1 trade, and Yell is there from the backline to deliver one more shot onto their backs. Exit. Clear pickings. Oh, I think you might need to reconsider your prediction there for us, because it might be the caster's curse. MiBR bringing things back in Young Ninjas. They need to win their individual duels, and it comes down to whether Exit moves across. Flash is perfect. Good coordination, even though they're across 2 very different angles. They're very helpful to each other. Put themselves back as the game, back in the radar. 2 versus 2, still within the rounds of possibility. Fizzy putting a bullet straight through Yell. Finds the second one as well. Fizzy, you're a madman, and you put Young Ninjas on map point for another time.
That was such a strong start from MiBR. They could have brought it back right there in that instance, but that could be the finishing blow. Fizzy, where initially his performance was lackluster, now he's touching the shoulders of giants. He's kept NIP in this game.
And for us, you know, when hitting 30 bombs is impressive, right? Every single one of these players are above 30. Every single one of them. No players dropped out from that. All of them are performing on the server. SHC now with the shot down. He's down. It's a simple mode down from SHC. Oh dear. Young Ninjas. They just get stopped in their tracks.
I like the idea behind the unorthodox play where they quickly jump out of Palace, but you can start to see the fatigue setting into them, because there's no way you would go for 3 isolated peaks, even waiting for just enough time for the M4 spray to reset. But Fizzy, he's a bit of a madman in that regard. Can he deliver? 1v4, but the AWP is probably not what you want in that instance. The nades following him like homing missiles, and even a Molotov.
Exit on the backline as well. Fizzy, there's nowhere he can go, nowhere he can run, nowhere he can hide. Although he had the right idea. Couldn't quite collect the pieces. The final blow, MiBR. Still 1 round away from taking us to 6 overtime. Can this happen? This is sort of the theme, right? Young Ninjas have the advantage. They drop the ball at the end. And MiBR close things out. Take it to another overtime. Are we seeing it again?
And Young Ninjas, they must be feeling the pressure right now, because they know that they almost had it. With Fizzy's clutch, it should have been a done deal. Dunzo, wrapped up, ribboned. But look at this, MiBR. The first opportunity that they have, Yell has missed it. A fair bit of control over towards B apartments as Cello will move right in. Honestly, this position is just screaming overtime number 6 right now.
Sap it. Need it down low. Cello wanted to go for something greedy, but it doesn't come the way he would have liked. Exit though. Controls the exit. Spray down. Are you kidding me? Shit. What on earth is that? Deagle thrown out, so Young Ninja still in the game. SSE needs to dance around the flames, though, peeking through and catches Rolf off guard. No, no way. Is this the 6th overtime we're seeing?
This has to be it, because Fizzy and Elo, they're so low. No way they can carve their way out of this unless they get crispy headshots all across the board. And up against an M4 and an AK, absolutely not. I think we're going to head straight on over to that 6th overtime. Fizzy He's done it before. He's got an AWP, but he doesn't have any HP to work with. Waiting.
Madness. So much rests on this guy's shoulders right now. Do they line up? Imagine, first kill. Second,
oh, no.
One left. Can he do it? Bolts all by himself, fully health. The one bullet should do it on his body. Could be the full-on ace from Fizzy. Does he check his right side? He does.
Yes, he does!
Fizzy! You turn things around! Young Ninjas! It took them 5 overtimes, but they've done it! Well, how do you do that, Fizzy? How do you do that to MiBR? It's the full 5-man ace for Young Ninjas right now, taking their opponents as map pick. They've taken this game home, and they're taking it to Mirage. Ladies and gentlemen, map 1 is now over, and you can see their smiles. They are ready to take this series home, but we will be back right after the break, so stay tuned. Well, hello. We're back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second map of this series. MiBR just lost their first map pick as Young Ninjas took it to 5 overtimes and closed things out in the end.
MiBR, Young Ninjas, what was that entire affair? But we are already starting things off with the same level of momentum as 2 kills come out from the CT side, and Fizzy will recover.
Now they're on the site trying to get the push on forwards, but still holding down his ground. Eventually has to fall. 2 kills goes to his name, but I think the damage may have been inflicted already. ZTR all by himself in his endeavor as the smoke is where MiBR will start to push on forwards, make their presence known. Down to half, has to deal with 2. 1 headshot connects onto exit. Young Ninjas, they're feeling it. Can he find the finishing blow? Just swings out. He can play with time. Goes with a swing as well for yet another time. The defuse is being stuck, makes his presence to stop the defuse. I like that. I like that, CTR. You menace. Gets the 3-piece this round and gives Young Ninjas the first round to the game.
I know that these teams look incredibly back and forth on Mirage, but you have to keep in mind that Young Ninjas are a lot more seasoned when it comes to Inferno. So where we saw both of these teams going head and head, Inferno could be a very different affair. I'm really happy with how things have started off, though. You can already see it's a derby, it's chaos, it's punches being thrown out, it's the sound of a cat in the background, all of that good jazz, like a good old Tom and Jerry fight. And Young Ninjas, they want to do it all over again as they start to take control of Banana. The MAC-10 player being the first to push in, a flash to supplement his aggression, moving on forward, but not committing to anything just yet.
Looks like they do want to get the push on towards the mid side. Gaining access, I guess, where they find the advantage, that's where they will try to leak onto. Yell takes that Nova somewhere further back. He's had enough of taking bullets. Trying to catch his breath, really. But a bomb needs to be collected again from the Young Ninjas side, as they do move most of their forces towards the banana side of things. And might be a good idea initially, but MiBR quickly on their feet. You can already see a lot of rotations coming in.
Young Ninjas, they're going to spew forth on this bomb site, and they've got 3 players on the ready. MiBR, they might have the read for it, but they probably won't have the weapons. Young Ninjas, they are marching forward. Cello is the first thorn in their defense, stopping, and ZTR, they've gotten a kill apiece. They said, see, good little boost, but Fizzy is aware of these tricks. He's the man that got that 1v3 to close out map number 1, and he will not be falling for it. Yell and exit.
left
you
alone.
can see
Yeah, there's nothing much they can do about this. Young Ninjas, they've...
he's just cocking his shotgun back and forth because he's got nothing else to do.
It makes a cool noise, though. You feel like you've got power. Exactly.
Love it. I remember, what was the game I used to play? I think it was Duke Nukem, yeah. I think in Duke Nukem, the shotgun made such a satisfying sound when you cocked it. Oh, man. Sorry, I just got dragged way back into playing Duke Nukem as a kid, even though it was definitely not a game intended for kids, to be honest. Probably shouldn't have played that on the family computer.
Absolutely not. But after seeing the first map going in the hands of Young Ninjas, we can see the Pinnacle odds clearly reflecting that the Swedish side is now the one being favored when it comes to the odds. And I'm not really surprised. 2-0 start for them as well. Likely to be a 3-0 endeavor. I'm sure we're just waiting for the next buy round, right?
Yeah, I'm a bit worried for the Brazilians because I think I would have given them a much better shot here if they started on the T side. But right now, Young Ninjas, they're starting things off strong. They're on that disadvantageous side. But for MiBR, I think they've got a lot more explosiveness as far as their T side is concerned. Oh no, I think Yell had a chance there with the Zeus, but he's carved himself out a much better angle. If Nilo tries to rush out, he will be greeted by the might of Zeus.
Ah, Zeus. The ancient old god. Will he rain his thunder down on us mortals? Well, Yell, somehow he's got a hold of that lightning. Will he be able to put it right through Nilo? I think that's a big question to ask. The timing, no! Oh, almighty Zeus, you shall not reign from above today. Young Ninjas is just too snappy. And I bet the way they must be feeling right now is over the roof. After that overtime, after Fizzy's clutch. And to be fair, it's been a few clutch-worthy moments from Young Ninjas the previous map that kept them in the game. I remember ZTR 1v3 situation over on the A site on Mirage before. And of course, you can't not count out Fizzy's ace to close out their series for them as well. So most of these players had sparkling moments, to say the least. So they're all feeling it. And MiBR needs to show the world that they can be resilient after such a loss.
The thing I want to point out, Pavlos, is that although we are on map number 2 right now, the losing team, MiBR, they must be feeling a lot of fatigue. You take it down to the last wire. You end it in a fashion where you should have been able to march on over to that 6th overtime. No, Fizzy will deny it. And that being said, I think that fatigue will reflect in their gameplay in map number 2. I know that they are used to playing multiple best of 3s a day, but I think just the mental tiredness that will spew forth from having to play out such an elongated map, it might reflect in their decision making, but who knows?
Although Young Ninjas left to push through aggressively onto the short side. As they see, is there to deliver spray down. Simple stuff actually from MiBR. As soon as they've got rifles to work with, they're going to make it look easy. Smoke will salvage his feet as they have been burnt to a crisp, but apart from that, he's still alive and well. Good enough to also peek out to get another blow onto his opponents. 1-3 as MiBR put themselves on the board.
Yeah, you mentioned simple. It all just came down to a bit of a spray down and a Molotov to keep things at bay. Nilo and Rolf immediately checked out early on from construction. Not construction, graveyard. But MiBR, at least they can get the ball rolling on the first gun round. Young Ninjas, their start might have been strong, but they can't keep the avalanche rolling. Bit of early attention on Banana. Sapik has been able to creep forward. And this gives him the opportunity to surprise MiBR. They have a flashbang ready to push forward. The double peek to potentially bait Sapik out. He doesn't win out the aim duel, but Cello... Oh, actually, I thought Cello would take a few hits in the process, but he didn't.
No. And I guess that's sort of costly when it comes to Young Ninjas, right? could have gone the extra mile. Struggling to find entry though. So MiBR have got these M4s to work with. Not really giving them an inch. Young Ninjas really need to work hard for this. HHC. Slightly off the angle, right? So it's not directly where Young Ninjas would pre-fire, which could give them the correct timing. Spray down. There you go. MiBR, 2 players ahead of their opponents. And that smoke won't keep him out because now he can push forwards. The smoke went deep. It went towards Arch, and that's not going to help out in any point in time. Yell hasn't quite shown his position yet, and he could be a real menace now. Shows his card, gets 1 kill, exit from the site as well, puts bullets through his two opponents of his, and MiBR will slowly close out the gap with a 2nd round on the board for them as well.
Generally speaking, when somebody in the site plays off the top of the box behind the pillar, you would have an additional player in cart and then 1 in graveyard to have that crossfire setup. But instead of doing that, they just have 1 in pit, and that's good enough, as he can keep avoiding the duels, keep nudging himself into the corner, as they have to peek out wide then to try to challenge the player in pillar. But MiBR, their CT side is a bit different here compared to Mirage. Looking a lot better. It's looking like they have a fair bit of control over Banana that the T side is simply unable to implement as well. Oh, good shot from Cello. He's been large and in charge as far as taking control of B is concerned. Other than that, Young Ninjas, they're heading on over to brackets. They've left the bomb behind, and it will be, I think it's Nilo's responsibility to reclaim it, or rather Sapek.
Yeah, well, he's got the right lineup. Fizzy, ooh, spicy scout shot coming out from him, but Bolts will be able to deliver onto the B site as well. Nothing much given to Young Ninjas. And you sort of touched upon that. This is sort of the last wire for the young Swedish side. And for that reason, they're really working hard to see if they can bring anything to a close. But Cello has heard ZTR's movement. Made a lot of noise. Bomb recollected from Fizzy, but with Bolts now holding that lineup, it shouldn't be a difficult ordeal. The equalizer has come out, and MiBR may want to take things further.
With this start, they absolutely can. Sapek's the only one that might be able to buy up, and even he's going to save so he can pass over an AWP to Fizzy. Surprisingly, we saw Fizzy struggling on the T side of Mirage because he couldn't get that many picks with the AWP, but on Inferno, he's come out swinging. MiBR want to look at their setup. This time around, they're not having a full commitment. Oftentimes, they'll be using a fair bit of utility to draw it out, and they've done just the same, but with only 2 players. Not 3 players, as is often expected for early control, but Cello, time and time again, his ability to chase them down with utility and follow through with nades, follow through with sprays, it's gotten him a fair bit of kills around smokes, around Banana. So everything seems to be lining up for him right now. MiBR, this is the kind of individual performance they need if they want to keep the ball rolling, but for the most part, this should just be an easy cleanup. Nilo, being the last member of the T side, see if he can get a few cool-looking shots here with the Deagle.
Yeah, I think in this sort of game, you expect a break to be required after that overtime streak, right? Like, you imagine you're playing Face It or something, right? You're just playing a game and
oh, I've done it.
You just have so many overtimes, right? How much time do you yourself need to jump into the server again?
I just went to bed because I remember I played a game with Tea Time the other day, and it's the only game ever, by the way, where Tea Time broke 30 kills. And the reason I tell people that he broke a 30 bomb, but I also have to conveniently hide the fact that I had to get to 90 kills on that.
What?
Yeah, it just wouldn't end.
They're heading into the next fight round here. Young Ninjas are looking to challenge. Rolf able to put a bullet straight through Bolts' skull. Bolts, though, in the process, does retaliate with fire. But is that going to be enough? Sapik down to 1 point of health as Young Ninjas double back on the decision and moved across this mid side up against the smoke. They won't be challenged at all, so it's a good decision from them. Look at MiBR's movement only towards the B site, although if aggression is being shown, or if they peek through, they'll soon realize that there's no one headed towards that direction, and SHZ needs to deal with this onslaught all by himself. Quickly on his feet though, Yell moving towards Library. It's all a matter of timing, and I think MiBR managed to get themselves on the site quickly enough. Only peeking through, no smoke towards the outside, but Rolf is so quick on this trigger that exit has nothing to say about the affair. SHC still doesn't show his card. Yell out of the equation, but instantly bullets putting straight through their opponents' heads is why Young Ninjas are now on the site with 4 players remaining.
Luckily for the CT side, since they had flawless rounds previously, they can still have a decent buy. In fact, Cello's sitting on $10,000, so he's got nothing to worry about, and they even might have enough money for the reserve, but I think after exits full investment, yeah, this is already getting a bit risky for Young Ninjas. They want to get away with as many rounds on the T side as they can, because I know for sure that if this is their map pick, their CT side needs to, it must be well practiced, it must be immaculate. I know that the statistics don't particularly show that MiBR are favored for this because they haven't played it much, but at the same time, it's the factor of knowing that a lot of preparation has gone into this before they headed on over to Europe for LAN. But that practice isn't really showing itself on the grand scoreboard. Not the one you're seeing right now, the tally. Because Young Ninjas, they've won a map and they're already making a big dent on Inferno. In round number 9, Bolts is down to 1 point of health. A gust of wind would blow him off of the map. Look at this brackets control. Moving into arches.
Yeah, Young Ninja is definitely challenging this, although exit, the only thing you can see is the buttocks of a chicken. They'll soon realize that Young Ninjas are looking to push through. Lovely flashes coming out as well. And Yalvo, ooh, that could have been dangerous. 1 kill goes his way and does damage onto the second, but Fizzy and Nyla are able to put bullets straight through their opponents. And now, SHC and Bolts are the 2 final remaining players from MiBR, and the one of them is onto that B site. So Young Ninjas, although MiBR was able to break them economically, looks like they're eager to bounce straight back around and regain that lead. And Bolts, surprisingly enough,
yeah, it's crazy that he's the one that's alive,
right? So he's in the construction area of the cathedral. So considers, I don't know, a nail being on the ground. If he steps on it, he's a dead man.
I think normally if you're in a construction site, I would recommend wearing a hard hat. But with the amount of HP Bolts has, I think just putting on that hard hat would inflict enough damage to kill him.
It's just
the map the map shaking around with the because of the bomb the quake from the bomb would have just taken him out right now. But somehow Bolts gets away with an M4, so I think that's an achievement on its own. Doesn't look particularly happy about it, but hey, an M4 is an M4. Young Ninjas, now they've moved on forward. They're on that 5th round. They're looking to cement their lead further. And I do think it will be, because it's not like MiBR have much of an investment going into this. They have to save up because of their previous economic downfalls. Heading on over to Banana, though. Sapik has already crept up forward. With his AK, he'll catch the back of 2 players pushing in. Bolt's the only man wielding an M4. Does he get chased down by nades? Apparently not just yet, but the threat of that will always be looming around the corner.
It's just a small play, like Cello crouching, that basically makes Sapik lose his life. That was the only reason that he lost in that trade. But the crossfire with the Eagles could still be a dangerous affair when it comes to MiBR. And you need to be careful. Beats it 50! Oh what? Man, they're making it look easy. Stop it. Young Ninjas. They just won their opponent's map pick on a 5th overtime, and now it's just pistols throwing you down. Well, okay, I guess it's one of those series. I guess it's one of those days. And now it's all up to Rolf in that 1v4.
I think he has all the makings of a player that should be able to get it done. But he needs to find a kill first. Before he can get the bomb down, he needs to isolate a few duels. But as they're moving in from Banana, it just becomes harder. But it doesn't even matter, because Bolts, even with 17 HP, he can close it out. The tie. I didn't expect that at all, Pavlos.
No, it's not something you would expect, is it? I would have thought that Young Ninjas would be feeling a lot more comfortable, and they'd be finding quite a bit of pressure, but it's a back and forth, really. And it's anyone's games. Fizzy 5-2 and duels against Yao, powered by Pinnacle. Good statistic there. Prowess being shown out as well from Fizzy. He's had solid performances throughout the previous map and this one including. But look at the aggression coming through from Young Ninjas right now. Pushing through, Sapik gets the first kill.
Yeah, Cello got spotted out because he jump peeked. He jumped to get away from the utility, perhaps to try to avoid the nades, but it simply gives up his position. Now, to the T side with the advantage, they're going to look to cement it further as Nilo takes away Yell from the server as well. And Inferno, being notorious for saves, I think is just going to show us that. MiBR, they want to head on over to the B site. I like how they still have they still have a half-hearted commitment to it. They wanted to maybe catch somebody walking over to the A site from Arches, and if they got that pick, then maybe they can go for a retake. But soon enough, they realize that that's not the case at all. But look at where the bomb is going, Pavlos.
Oh no!
This is terrible. MiBR, they might actually still have a foot in this. Young Ninjas, after the perfect read, after clearing out the A side entirely, they still have a shot at it.
Maybe
MiBR not even. They weren't even trying to go for the read there.
But maybe they know. Maybe they know that the rifles are here. They want to shut them down, but it's a bit too risky, and they might pay for it with their lives. HHC gets one, and Sapik does deliver with the trade, but still a 2v3 endeavor. Young Ninjas. Ooh, ZTR pushes through. Headshot connects. Bolts. He's all by himself, but do they expect to be another third player in this corner? Spray down. Ooh, could have been dangerous. Young Ninjas still come out ahead, but as you said, Wild. Maybe they should have gone for the read towards the A side instead.
You know what? Although they ended up giving themselves a harder time because they come out on top off of that bad decision, this gives them the ultimate advantage. It's the fact that no saves are had from MiBR. This puts a lot of pressure on the MiBR economy. Young Ninjas, now they are looking to step ahead at overtime. They're already closing in on that 7, but MiBR want to stop it as soon as they can. Sapik wanted to push through the smoke, but he second-guessed his decision. That's the smoke that he's carved out for himself. The boost being anticipated. Cello wants to chase through with a nade, but it is all Sapik's domain. SHZ doesn't even get a chance to chime in because Sapik, he comes out with 3 entry frags.
He does indeed. 2v5 in Young Ninjas. Seems like they want to start running away with this, right? Looking a lot more dominant than it was prior to this resurgence, really. Nilo, he's seeking these kills. He's still sticking around, though Yell is, he's got his attention towards that B sites. But I think they're going to come in from a different angle. And Yell, I think he's also waiting, excuse me, Nilo, he's also waiting for his teammates to sort of arrive. And Exit will be in big trouble. Losing his weapons isn't exactly what MiBR want right now, considering their economy is in a really tough spot. 4 players after him, leaving 1 on the B site, but the bomb will explode. And I believe the only rifle safe from MiBR is that AWP of Yell.
That AWP simply can't be enough to get them rounds. Hold on. I'm not going to say that. The reason for that being, when I said that previously about the rifle from Bolts, it was just enough to get them the round because of the P250 kills that came in. So we can still hold out a candle for MiBR. Maybe the light is enough to guide them to the victory. But for now, Young Ninjas, they are looking dominant. Their T side has very few cracks in its offense. In fact, if MiBR weren't able to get the upset round with the P250s, I think the scoreline would have been a lot closer. So some fortune coming the way of MiBR does help them out in the long run. Perhaps this could be the game saver even. But for now, Young Ninjas want to be very methodical, very careful with how they scope out bomb sites.
Yeah, I
One
think
player in
wants
apartments.
to focus onto Yell here because he's got a really sneaky angle. And he's able to succeed in getting a kill as well. For us, I think MiBR have the advantage here, but considering only Yell has a weapon, what are their chances?
Yeah, that's the AWP player's position being telegraphed, so now they want to head on over to A very quickly before the rotations can come in. Essentially, he doesn't need any of the big boy guns. He thinks that the USB is just enough as the baby A1S, and unfortunately, the baby A1S is only good for one and not a two-man spray down. 3 versus 3, with a gun being recovered by Cello. Now the information has been called. The IGL has decided that they want to save the AK and the AWP. It can be put to good use in the next round. Avoiding 2 rebuys, that means that they'll have a much better chance as they move into the last vestiges of the half. Of course, Young Ninjas, they've stepped ahead. Halftime, the victory around halftime, rather. It'll be going their way, but now they just want to play for bonus points.
Yeah, consider the fact that MiBR went for a save a few times in a row, and it hasn't really worked out so great for them. I would have imagined that Young Ninjas may have attempted to go and challenge those saves, but knowing that they themselves, it was going to be a 3v3 endeavor if they did end up going for that, and also at the same time, they know in case of a loss, they need to have enough money accumulated so they can withstand it. But I think they're in a good ground currently. Even if they lose the next round, they should be fine because there's only 2 rounds remaining in the half.
What is their round loss bonus at, Pavlos? Just going to be Chilo and Bols that can afford weapons if they lose this round, but that's not the plan that they have. Cello gets the entry frag, but that's at the cost of Sopik getting one as well. Now he's being pressured. He has to walk right out of the flames. The bullets try to follow him, but they will narrowly miss it. ZTR, I love how aggressive he's been because he can catch off the bunny hopping AWP player. Yell, now that he's been caught out, it all comes down to exit to hold down the wire all by his lonesome. The spray down doesn't connect to the second, and that's the A side being given up. Cello and 8 Z. Now, what's the decision they take? Do they count on this next round coming their way, or do they allow Young Ninjas to get onto the bomb site?
Well, they can't go for it. Quite frankly, they don't have the utility, they don't have the numbers, and knowing that Young Ninjas have got 3 players remaining with decent amounts of health across the board, it's not an easy endeavor. And knowing that their economy's in shambles, they have to save to give them a winning scenario on the next round. Because right now, they don't have one currently. Their chances do increase the next round to potentially give them a 6th. But they cannot deny the 9th from Young Ninjas. Absolutely not.
Will Young Ninjas get to double digits on their map pick? That's not something that MiBR was able to turn up, and that's sort of the yardstick that I was using, or rather the narrative that I was playing around with at the start of this game. Just because it went neck and neck in the first map doesn't mean it will on the second. If anything, it just shows Young Ninjas' ability to overcome a very similar opponent. If these are two match teams, it should have gone the way of MiBR, because of course it is their own map pick. Even by a narrow margin, I would expect MiBR to win it out, and they did look like they had the signs to do it. But as far as the Ninjas are concerned, they're not playing around on their own map at all.
Absolutely not. Sapik chimes in first with a kill onto Chilo as he swings on forwards, but they do back out of it as the utility has been thrown out from MiBR as retaliation. But still, divide and conquer may be the idea for Young Ninjas as they sense Nilo on a patrol mission. SHZ. He's got his angle covered. The Young Ninjas reconsidering their tactic, sort of leaving Sapik in that corner. He goes for the aggression, but SHZ, he bounces back. So the numbers have been equalized again. Exit, he's got a strong task to deal with, and Yell is with him. Together, they both bounce back. Nilo tries to make something happen from a different angle, but he's unsuccessful from finding anything other than just a singular kill, which gives MiBR a clear leeway this round.
Yeah, they can stop it at 6 right away. And Fizzy, I know he got that 1v3 on Mirage, but I think they've had enough of his shenanigans. 9-6 is a scoreline, and NIP, they pull on ahead. Before we head into the next half, Pavlos, quick reminder that Pinnacle, they've got a nice little offer going, as you can see on the graphic on your screen. If you use the code CUP21 and bet €10, you get €10 back. To find out all the details, go to pinnacle.com/welcome. And remember, if you're gonna go on there, only bet what you can afford to lose. Make sure that it is a fun experience, and and stop betting when the fun stops. Terms and conditions apply.
Oh, MiBR. He's got a different. He was in an angle as if he was in a space shuttle. You know, space shuttle.
Space shuttle. Yes.
Shuttle. Yeah. I'm creating words at this point. Don't mind me. What would a shuttle look like? Space shuttle.
A shuttle in the shape of a cat, but hold that thought, because MiBR, I think they're about to head on over to B.
Absolutely will, but it's a slow endeavor. Rolf peeking through every so often. Able to catch them out. But it's a good setup from Young Ninjas, considering they've got lead. Slightly preemptive. Goes wide. Sapik needs to deliver some shots, but the flashes and mollies are just too good. 2 players already out of life, but Fizzy quickly on his feet finds his way towards Banana, looking for the shot, swings out for yet another time, but Yell is there to greet him as well, finds the shot, but mark onto the scoreboard so far, but has to throw down the smoke to give him some ground to work with. Close out these angles. Nilo does pull through with a bullet to Boltz's head. Rolf aggresses. It's the lineup from Nilo as well. They're looking for the shots, but Exit is able to hold down his ground without giving away too much space. Nilo wants to get himself up close and personal, but the smoke ends out being covered from MiBR. So this is going to be their downfall as MiBR get themselves a pistol round.
If anything, that smoke ended up helping MiBR out on the retake, because it's not just a matter of isolating the duel. It's also about allowing the duel to come to you, because you want to get them eliminated as quickly as possible, since the pressure of the bomb ticking down is on your shoulders. So that ends up working out from MiBR, and NIP seems like they want to turn things around early on. They have that early commitment, Fizzy being passed over the scout rifle so he can take control of his own economy. Sapik, he seemed a bit out of it for a second, but at least he didn't receive too much damage off of it. Waiting for the audio cues. And MiBR, they're being very careful with how they approach this. They know that Young Ninjas can turn up big, even in very pressuring situations, as they did on Mirage. Banana control has slowly been established, but they don't have top control of top Banana just yet. A flashbang is primed, and Sapik should swing out soon.
Ooh, but they're a little bit close when it comes to contact. Scratch that, they're actually backing out. Flash through. Cello won't take the push. Oh, what a shot by Fizzy. Exit, though, is able to find the counter kill onto Sapik. And then MiBR are easing up onto Banana. With Young Ninjas taking the gamble towards the A site, I believe it is the wrong read, because MiBR can clearly find an advantage on this left side of the map.
The question is whether or not it can be held down long enough for the rotations to start to come in. The utility has been thrown, the information is conveyed, but Rolf needs to pull the trigger a couple times. He needs to do it the right way, and he's managed to get one, but he gets traded out immediately. Boltz. He's the man to get the entry frag, and SHZ will be the man to get the plant down. Young Ninjas, I think they do want to go for this. They know that the Desert Eagles can still come out on top. Just a stray bullet flying into one of the heads of MiBR, that could be all the opening that they need.
Can they deliver, though? Is it what they need? Fizzy again, showing how he can be such a high-impact player when it comes to it. SHZ still holding down to his ground. That time is dwindling, and there's not much time to get onto that defuse. No kit available, but I think it's plenty, isn't it? They've got plenty of time. They managed to get the retake across. Beautifully done by Young Ninjas, taking them to double digits.
And that's what I was talking about as far as stray bullets were concerned. MiBR, they find themselves on the receiving end of them. And where we thought that the pistol round would be MiBR's way to start marching on forward, knowing that they're such a stellar T-side team, it doesn't work out in their favor at all. In fact, it puts them in a much worse economic position than they would have been in had they simply lost out the pistol round. No chance at equal weaponry. I mean, they did have better weaponry in the previous round, but their economy is looking tested at the moment. All guns on the Young Ninja side, Tech 9s and a MAC-10. A mixed bag of traits, if you will, as far as MiBR are concerned. And it should be a cumulative push being readied up by the MiBR side. 2 in apartments, 2 in boiler.
Ooh.
This is going to be rough for Young Ninjas because the Tech 9s, they can be very deadly.
Absolutely. Fizzy goes for the spray down, but he won't be finding any damage, just the bullet to the leg of SHZ, but another less. They are going to push on forwards. Nilo, untouched so far, unscathed. He's able to find some extra damage while ZTR is being the menace. Spikes some dying. Bolts does find one with the Tech 9 eventually, but it's a mow down. Bolts, he's looking for that extra damage, nearly taking Fizzy down, but it's not going to be good enough. Young Ninjas, they clean things up and take themselves to the 11th.
I honestly love how they are very careful with their micro plays. Young Ninjas, even after, I believe it was Nilo that was defending the bomb site, he didn't go for any extra aggression. No, he tried to duck behind the boxes, allow his teammates to come in with the reinforcements, because just those 3 or 4 seconds can make all the difference in the world. Young Ninjas, now they are firmly ahead. They want to close this out 2-0, but MiBR, they're going to have plenty of opportunities to bring it back. Oh no, this nade towards logs. Lots of clearing out being done. MiBR, before they even get their foot through the door, they are greeted by nades, mollies, flames, smokes, bullets.
Yeah, and previously we saw the odd increase to favor Young Ninjas. I believe it was from a 1:6 to 1.8 ratio. And for that reason, I think it's due to the fact that Young Ninjas were able to take MiBR down where they did go for that full buy, which sets them back by a mile. So I guess the prediction was that Young Ninjas is more than likely to head onto that 12th, which by then is a 5-round lead. Quite substantial.
Fizzy, all it needs to do is hold down mouse 1 and the rest will take care of itself.
It did just that. Fizzy, frustrated that he didn't have too much of a say in that matter, shoots down a pots of flowers. But I'm sure it's not frustration. I guess it's just joy, really.
Mm-hmm. No, he was just completing the ace on the pot.
Yeah, right. He wanted to get an ace.
Yep, and he kills a chicken.
And
he
kills a chicken as well. And another pot.
Okay, he's getting a 7-man ace.
He needs to control his temper, that man, for sure.
I imagine he's like shoving his head into the monitor, foaming at the mouth as he's playing this game.
After that five-man ace at the end of the previous map, I imagine
hold that thought.
He's really hungry for extra kills. ZTR, though, Yell challenging him. Milo, though, keeping his ground, gets a double to save for it as well. Smoke to give him some cover, but he backtracks instead. SHZ able to deliver, but now they're trying to close out the site with Young Ninjas on hot pursuit.
This is clearly a very favorable retake for the Young Ninjas, but maybe MiBR can bring it back. They've got the bomb. If they can isolate a single duel, then at that point it would be even pickings. Rolf moving in from apartments, 2 from short. And the CTs, they are starting to close in on them. As the time ticks down, MiBR still have a fair bit to work with. Sophic, he wants to peek out. He wants to interrupt the bomb plan, and he kills the other one. He has a chance. Exit, unfortunately. He simply can't find the kill on the apartments player. Young Ninjas. That was a pretty comfortable retake, all things considered.
Quite comfortable indeed. They only lose 1 player, I guess, in the process, but for the 1-for-2 trade, they'll definitely take it. Any day of the week. Although the loss bonus is starting to trickle in from MiBR, there's definitely pressure inflicted on them, and for that reason, they go for the timeout. Ladies and gentlemen, if you think you've got a good read about how results and outcomes are being performed in Counter-Strike, then Pinnacle is definitely a place to go when it comes to these bets, because they also offer a really good promotion. 10 euros on a bet in esports over at Pinnacle can get you 10 euros in return. And you can do that just by signing up with the code CUP21. Remember though, you need to be very responsible when you do go and bet, and only bet what you can afford, because the whole reason behind betting is fun. And when fun stops, you definitely need to stop as well. NIP, they're keeping themselves ahead 13-7. With a Byron coming through, this is where things get exciting.
This buy round could be all they have, Pavlos. And Cello, he wants to make the most of it. Spots another head. Rolf is under his crosshairs, but he will escape. Exit. He receives a nade to the face. Reinforcements have arrived, and ZTR will sweeten the deal. ZTR has just enough time to back off. The flashbang will also be keeping them at bay as it's a rebound. SHZ wants to be the first man to move in. The Molotov holds them down for a little bit longer, and that is meant to allow Nilo to move in from the back lines. The flank is being checked, but I don't think it will be checked for long enough. Fizzy, he's the man in charge. AWP in hand, kills the player in Cubby. And Nilo, he can't come here fast enough.
I think they bought just enough time, but Fizzy, does he need reinforcements? He's a one-man army! It does just that! 1v3 on that close. Nilo, he was on the hot pursuit on the back line, but it didn't really come down to that, did it? Young Ninjas, double the amount of rounds that MiBR have so far, and they're clearly favored when you're talking about the Pinnacle odds. Look at that!
1 to 65.
Woo!
Oh my goodness.
I've never seen odds like that. I'm going to be honest.
Fizzy is feeling so confident at the moment. There was no reason for him to go for an isolated duel in that instance, but he just flashes himself out. Doesn't need anybody. As you mentioned, a one-man army, and that's being reflected in his kills at the moment. 25 to 8. He's nearing that 30-kill mark in a relatively short game. He is definitely the MVP here. There is no questioning it at all. Young Ninjas. I think they're fully capitalizing on the fatigue that they've built up in the minds of MiBR. And it seems like MiBR are stuck in the mud. Heading on over to the B site. 2 players at the ready for Young Ninjas, a smoke being primed. The boost position will be good enough to shut down the Tech 9s, as it is very hard to get that duel. Let's see if MiBR can get anything off of this.
Incendiary thrown out as a Lucha in forward. Sap it. Good to hold down his ground. Bolts as well with a Tech 9 though. So MiBR increasing their chances of success. Finding their way onto the side. But I think most notably enough, SHC is on the back line.
He'll be too late.
Will it though? They don't check it, do they? They don't. I mean,
Fizzy's looking for it.
Does he check this angle though? He does. Oh,
I love that.
Young Ninjas are just too smart.
There's nothing that Bolts and Cello can do.
Only time is in their favor. But Young Ninjas, they're not going to give them that chance. Bullet straight through the eyes of the 2 players remaining. And due to there being a diffuse kit, Young Ninjas, they style on their opponents and only require 1 round to close this entire series out.
Man, that was big brain by Fizzy. I mean, he just looks at the ceiling. Instead of chess pieces, it's T's moving around Inferno. He can visualize what's about to come his way. And he checks it. He double checks it. He's making sure. And now that they're on series point...
Did you see the movie Lucy?
No.
Oh, man. He visualizes everything and everything comes into place. The IQ increases by a mile, and I think that's exactly where Fizzy was at that point.
I'm so sad that you probably didn't get the Queen's Gambit reference that I made to begin with.
You made a Queen's Gambit reference? I didn't hear that. Oh.
Looking at the ceiling, visualizing chess pieces. Come on.
There you go. I missed it. I was thinking about the Lucy reference, and I completely missed it. Oh.
Pavlos, you gotta be on top of your game, buddy.
I apologize.
Seems like Fizzy's been caught off of his game for a second. He blinks, and he's dead. Young Ninjas, for the first time in ages, they've shown a chink in their armor.
They have indeed. And for that reason, MiBR, they may have a chance at this, I guess. An 8th round is definitely on the verge for them. And Young Ninjas realize that they mustn't go for any sort of aggression, but I'm sure that they'll want to close this game sooner rather than later. Because the more this game goes on, the more confidence MiBR gains. And we know what force MiBR can be when they're on the T side.
I mean, we can hype them up as much as we'd like, Pavlos, but can they get 7 rounds in a row against the NIP that clearly looks indomitable? I wouldn't bet on it. And I don't think the people over at Pinnacle would either. I mean, we saw the odds, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
It was, what, 1-65 or something along those lines?
It's a matter of when, rather than if, isn't it, for Young Ninjas? Can they close it out sooner than later? I think that's the big question. MiBR, they want to hold on though, and I value that substantially. The Brazilians, they never hold back. Until the 16th round is seen on the board, until the match over screen has been brought out, they won't give up. And I'll give them that. They've met a roadblock so far, but yeah, they're considering where to go now.
Fizzy's down to 1 point of health. If he can have an impact in this round, that would be crazy. That would be MiBR's luck down in the dumps. But by the looks of things, the T's haven't gained too much control. I think this is where they want to truly contest Banana. With about 55 seconds remaining on the clock, this is where they recollect the bomb and they start heading on over to brackets, actually.
Yeah,
Not committed to anything just yet.
This is where MiBR can't afford to make a mistake, isn't it? And they know it. It's a lot of pressure to put in these guys.
Young Ninjas have stuck to their guns.
Smoke's drawn, though. It's a fake. Therefore, you can see the rotation for Fizzy going on towards the B site. So, it's all down to Nilo and ZTR to hold things out over to the A site.
Oh, this is telegraphed. Now they know that MiBR are hitting the A bomb site. Nilo wants to hold on to this as long as he can. ZTR watching for the drop down. Nilo to act as a menace. Goes for the quick tap. They're not anticipating ZTR. The spray down through the box. It's been intercepted. They said Z and exit. They've made it so expensive. Rolf and Sopik now on retake duty as they walk back onto the A bomb site.
And now they're heading into it, but I think Yell has got a really good position there onto the apartment side. Does Sopik check this corner? He does, but Yell is quick to the trigger. Quick to react. His crosshair placement was on point. Rolf peeks out 1v3. Can he deliver? He won't. MiBR still in this. Not giving out just yet.
Are we seeing another overtime, Pavlos? We were yearning for the 6. Is
Okay.
that what the gust of wind was talking about?
Pinnacle doesn't believe that. Pinnacle says it's just a matter of time until Young Ninjas close
Why
this
are
out.
the odds getting worse for MiBR as they get closer to bringing it back?
Interesting. I don't know. It's just a matter of the possibility of MiBR really making a mistake, isn't it? And considering Young Ninjas aren't going for the full buy here, they'll have a lot of money later on to put things to an end.
It would be crazy if MiBR can bring it back, because then we'd be on the verge of looking at a game that is genuinely as long as 5 maps. We casted a 62-round game. It's only map number 2, and the game's been going on for well around 3 hours. Young Ninjas, I like the little boost setup that they've got going on. This is surely going to catch off a player, but that's the information being telegraphed. The audio cue is perfect, and bolts will fall. A 1-for-1 trade. Fizzy once again on 1 HP. Will MiBR be stopped in their tracks courtesy of these Deagles?
Young Ninjas, they've got a chance to put a dent in the opponent's economy. Spotting out players, they jump right on top of them. They deliver, but do they expect Nilo? They do. Headshot connects, but Sopik is here with an AK.
Oh, no.
He finds 2 kills, but Cello doesn't give up. He brings out his strings and starts playing divine music. But it's down to 1-on-1. He's only got 1 bullet's worth of health remaining. Rolf, he could do this. Bomb goes down, but it's a fake. Rolf peeks out, but it's a matter of timing. Cello looks away. Rolf takes it, and it's a Deagle round to put Young Ninjas now with that victory, getting themselves the 2nd win in the Swiss stage.
how have Young Ninjas closed it out this early on map 2? MiBR should have gotten those double digits. This wasn't a round that was supposed to fall apart, and at this point, we were starting to believe a little bit in their comeback. To be honest, once they get to that double-digit mark, economy, all of that, yada, 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 considered, it is possible. You can bring it to that closer, but I think this game has gone on long enough. Young Ninjas have had it. So any last thoughts, X-Warrior?
Yeah, I just got to say that thank you guys for joining. We'll be having Mouse NXT and Lingby Vikings playing up next. So if you're waiting for that matchup, just stick around after this break. But other than that, we bid you farewell as a duo, as X-Warrior and Malderi, and it's been a blast casting for you guys. And we'll be signing off. So make sure you take care, stay tuned, have the tab open, and wait for the next game to come through, because I reckon that is going to be a banger. See you in a bit.